I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on, but I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward.
Oh, perfect. It sounds good.
Hello, Walmart Electronics.
Hi, I was wondering if you have an Oculus Quest for sale in stock?
Currently I'm out of stock.
You are. When are you going to have more?
I do not know.
Okay.
Do you know?
Thanks for your time, sir.
No problem.
See ya.
What are you doing today?
It's like Jason.
Is there a Best Buy? What about
No. Well,
Oshkosh has one. So what were you calling for anyways? A ping pong table?
An Oculus Quest,
yeah.
the VR set.
Oh. What's it called?
Oculus Quest.
Oculus?
Oculus.
Do you have to put your phone in it?
No, it's all built into the headset itself. It's its own console, basically.
Because I know like when the first ones came out or whatever, you had to put your phone.
Yeah.
You had to get like the app, put
Yeah.
your phone in the thing.
That's what I had at first, and then this came out, and I bought that. And it's pretty cool.
What's the best thing to do on it besides porn?
Oof. I like ping pong.
Ping pong's
Ping
pretty
pong's
cool.
fun. It's insane. It
Play
tracks,
against other people.
Is it like
online?
It's like calibrated good though too.
Mhm.
It's insane. Like it tracks all spin, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally, like, after you play for a while, you forget you're in VR. You think you're just sitting there playing ping pong. It's crazy.
There's like triggers on it, and like to throw it, you gotta like lift the trigger.
It's intuitive. After you play for a while, it's almost like you're just like letting go of something. Like you're lifting
Yeah.
your fingers off.
Yeah,
the
like you're
controller.
letting the go of the ball.
That's you opening up your hand in the game. So you throw the ball up, hit it with your paddle, which is your right controller, and you're just playing ping pong. You can play online, so you'll get an invite. And Jason was playing online against some people, and he just looked around.
Yeah.
Can they see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're literally watching. It's their avatar. So
Yeah.
like the people you were playing with, they were like a fucking cat or something. But he, one of the times, he's in my basement, so there's like it's a big room. So he
Oh yeah, there you go. That's
He-
a lot better.
walked around the ping pong table in the game. I'm watching him on my TV. I have it streaming to my TV. And he walked to the side of the ping pong table, and he's just looking at this dude just standing halfway, just going like this. This dude walks up to him, and I swear to God, he was a foot and a half
He had to have been
taller.
at least 6'5".
He was fucking...
You can pick that or like
No, like
No, just in real life, it tracks your
tracks
height.
your
based-
height.
Really?
Yeah.
Based on floor level. And then it
So,
sets
like-
the ping pong table to legal
So like
height.
I'm doing like checking up on him at my side of the table like this, and then he's doing it, and then like I'm like leaning over the table doing it to him, and then he's like doing this.
how
like,
does it know where the line of the table is?
The table is, as soon as, like, when you open the app.
Your starting position.
And
when
like
you-
when I walk around, it tracks my movement on the table.
So,
so, like,
whenever you
It's like you're in a room playing ping pong.
when you open the app,
You should have brought it.
I could have easily.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
the fuck didn't I?
Or you can
We
just-
could've-
we
we
can
could've-
just go to
we could-
Josh's after this.
We could have tried it on here.
Yeah, next time.
I mean, my house is 3.5 minutes away.
We could do a pause break of like halfway through and
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, we can do
we
that.
do got a lot of other topics to hit.
But yeah, I was doing like this to him, you know? And like I'd take the paddle and do this to him. Or like I'd take the ball when it was my turn and like start throwing it at him, like getting pissed. Like,
Can you do
doing
that?
this.
Can you
Yeah,
just
like,
throw
you
it
just
at him?
throw
Yeah,
it.
and then this dude's just getting mad. He's just standing there, just emotionless, just hitting the balls
Yeah.
out of his face. And Jason's throwing at him. Just, you can tell he's just
And then
getting
like
annoyed.
I walked around the table in the game and like went to like the center point and I'm doing this to him and then he walks around and literally I was looking at him like this. He had to have been like professional basketball player
like,
height.
this dude is
Like
huge.
6'5",
You just
6'7".
You should have just boxed his nose.
No, he literally turned around. and
I
bent
turned around
over.
and started doing like this. Like, he had the mic plugged in too. I'm like, with eye contact, because there's like a mic so he can hear what I'm saying to him.
With eye contact.
That's funny.
She had a wagon.
I was taking
What's a wagon?
What do you mean by, why do you keep saying wagon?
She looked over at you and like gave like this smirk, like she
she knew.
liked it, and then walked
Yeah,
away.
then she just like laughs, leaves. I'm like, yeah, she 100% knew exactly. What
I don't think
Yeah.
Levin had
She
any
has a
he
wagon,
didn't have
dude.
any sense of how loud he was being.
No, he
That
never
was the funny.
does.
He's like, no one can hear me. I'm all over here. I'm like, I guarantee they can hear you.
Oh yeah, every word you're saying.
And then she's over there. I'm like, what do you keep saying? What does wagon mean? What does that even mean that she has a wagon? I've never heard that.
Didn't you look
before.
at her and be like, "Where's your wagon?"
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like, you got a wagon?
You have a wagon in here? Where's your
They parked
wagon?
out back.
Are you Amish?
Right.
Oh, that would have been hilarious. Get her going like that.
Oh, my God.
You have a wagon? Hey, are the levels too high?
they're pretty high,
I
but
adjusted.
I think it'll be okay. Just
Okay.
don't be screaming in it.
I'll try not to get too
Just
mad.
whisper like this.
ASMR.
Yeah, so I
I haven't heard
slept
that
at-
one in a long time.
Right.
sleeping at Josh's last night. I slept in the basement, and he's like, right when we were like going to bed, he's like, "You're not scared of basements, are you?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "You're not scared of the dark, are you?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Okay."
Like it's pretty dark down here.
Turns it pitch black, shuts the door so I can't see light from upstairs. It's pitch black. I can hear him start walking up the stairs, and then at the foot of the couch is his golf bag. Golf bag tips over.
Shut up.
Falls over.
Swear to God. Go down there this morning, and his computer chair's in the like middle of the room.
And I explained to him.
Shut
can-
up.
you can see on the
my
floor
my
where-
desk.
Yeah.
It's an L desk in the corner.
Wait, did you sneak down there? Or what?
No, I swear to God. And I have an L desk in the corner, and it's like real bamboo floors. And my computer chair has been sitting in that one spot. And after this last year or 2 years, it wore a circle. You know how a computer chair has like five
Yeah.
rollers in a circle? Just from rolling in that single spot, it like wore down almost like a circle, just like it's
Yeah,
faintly.
you can see it in the floor.
Yeah, it's faintly taken off the finish of the floor.
Yeah.
So I purposely don't roll the chair anywhere else in the room because I don't want to ruin any more of the floor. And eventually, if I move that desk, I'll just put a rug there or something. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Did you move your computer chair? It's literally sitting in the middle of the bamboo floor room, just sitting in the middle." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh." I'm
This
like, "Did
morning.
you?" And he's like, "No, I swear to God." I'm like, "I definitely didn't touch that. I would never do that." So somehow, during the night, that chair moved from my desk to the middle of the room.
And the golf bag tipped over.
You haven't heard half my stories at my
So
house.
is that why you asked him? Because you already have like a hint that.
Weird shit happens, but I think 90% of it's in my head.
But he was like walking up,
90%.
like he put his.
I
Like,
gotta hear the other 10.
He's got like these foam golf balls that he chips in his basement. So his golf club was out. He put the golf club in the bag.
This is before we even came
Before-
to your house. I
Yeah.
put the club back in my bag.
Yeah.
When we're done, he was on VR. I was just chipping balls in my basement. And we were going to go to your
Like
house.
9 hours before the bag
Yeah.
tipped over.
So that's the last time I touched my bag or a golf club.
And then he's like, "You're not scared of the dark. You're not scared of
That
basement."
was not, literally not to scare you. I
Flip
was
the
just-
lights off, closes the door. If it would have been wind, it would have flipped down with the closing of
What
the
was
door.
like 20 seconds after?
He was walking up the stairs, and then all of a sudden the bag tipped over. And then I like yelled to him like, "Ha ha, funny, dude."
I never heard
And then
that.
I didn't. And then I fell asleep
I
because I
never
thought
heard
it
that.
was him. But then I like waking up. I'm like, couldn't have been him because he was walking. I could hear him walking up the stairs. But I was kind of drunk, so I didn't think anything of it. Like I thought it was him.
That
you're
bag,
lucky you were a little buzzed. Otherwise, I would have been like shitting my
Dude.
pants.
And then this morning when we go back, because I told him what happened in the morning.
I'm like, so my clubs are laying on the ground right now?
He's like, "Yeah, you didn't pick my clubs up." I'm like, "No, I left them there because I didn't think you'd believe me."
Oh, that's,
And then we go down there and the chair's in the middle of the room. I'm like, "Why do you leave your chair in the middle of the room?" He's like, "I never do that."
And
because
then I
of
showed
that."
him. I showed him the
Yeah.
ground. I'm like, this is exactly why I don't roll it anywhere.
What the
but
heck?
here.
Or what else happened?
I think this all started. Oh my god.
No, tell the story about the golf club in the garage.
Yep.
That's
Um,
unexplainable.
Yep.
Unexplainable.
I have a few stories that started at the golf club as one of the main ones.
Yeah, start with
Okay.
like the beginning.
Okay. So, I have my set of my brand new golf clubs in my bag in the house. And now it's in the basement, but I leave those in the house. I have 2 other golf bags in the garage with random junk clubs I've had as hand-me-downs from my cousin and, my parents, whatever, just to use. And those are sitting in the corner of the garage, and there's maybe like 4 or 5 clubs total sitting in the bag. No reason to touch these. This is in the middle of end of summer, I think, last year, and I have absolutely no reason to touch them because I have my new clubs at this point. Would never practice with my old ones, never touch them, never use them. No reason to. So they're sitting in the bag in the corner of my garage for probably 3 months at this point. Get home from work, and I park my truck in the garage. Shut the garage door like I always do, get out of my truck, walking into my house, and I stop because a golf club is sitting on my step to walk into my house, leaning up against the door, to the point where if I would open the door, that golf club would have fallen. So the point is,
he had to leave the house in the morning, and
I left the house in the morning.
Yeah.
Out of that door, and a golf club in a bag in the corner of the garage. What? Like, I was like, maybe I was just tired this morning. I put it there. I'm like,
Why?
I would never touch these golf clubs.
Why would you leave the golf club leaned up against the
And
door?
here's the part that makes me know it couldn't have just be me and I didn't remember it, is because, well, like, how do you set a golf club down? If you're leaning a golf club against a wall, how do you do it?
You'd put the putting part or whatever on the.
Yeah, you'd put the head of the club on the
It
ground.
was fucking backwards.
It was upside down. The grip of the club was on the stairs.
Yeah,
The head-
dude. I'm
never
getting
in my life.
goosebumps thinking about that.
It's like
what?
disrespectful to fucking set a club.
It would
that
be
way.
ass back. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just not.
Just
it,
feels
like anybody
stupid.
could grab a golf club and like
You instantly know.
the weight
Head on
and
the,
yeah,
and then
like,
just lean the. No, it was upside down, and just literally in the corner of the door, just up against the corner of the door. And I was like, so I moved it right away. Went inside. All of a sudden, I went inside and I sat there. I'm like,
what?
Why did I just move a golf club from the front of my door? I'm like, what the hell? So I go out in the garage. All my garage doors are locked, and I'm just like, I honestly probably sat there for half an hour. I'm like, what the hell just happened? So that kind of freaked me out.
Oh, dude, I would.
I don't know.
I'm so worried. We bought a house. It's right next to a cemetery.
I heard your last podcast and you guys talking about
Dude,
it.
I hate
could
stuff
never.
like this. I'm so nervous now.
I could never.
I didn't really think about it. Now I'm like, we're about to move into this thing in like a week. I'm getting nervous.
So you want to hear the rest of my stories?
Yes, and that. Well, I don't
I'm gonna
want.
get
I
you
don't
worried. I'm
want
gonna get
to,
you
but I
worried.
do. Like, dude, I am so scared already.
So I can't remember if this is before the golf club or after, but this is after work, a couple hours, it's dark. I'd say probably 8 o'clock. I'm in the bathroom, about to take a shower. So I shut the door, lock it, whatever. I set my towel down, I'm getting ready to get in the shower, and just before I turned the water on, I heard, sounded like someone took a spoon or a fork and literally just dropped it on the counter or dropped it in the sink. Like some piece of silverware.
Dude, I hate.
But here's the thing. 2 hours prior to that, I just finished all the dishes. What was clean was put away in the drawer. Nothing in the sink. Not a single thing in the sink. You were just at my house. There's nothing on the counters, nothing in the sinks. Either in the dishwasher or put away in the drawer. And I was just like, what the... And that's what literally made me sit there. And I was to the point, or I was almost positive someone was in my house.
In the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
like you're like...
I just did all the dishes. I said, someone's trying to find a knife right now. I said, I don't know what the hell that sound is. So I just sat there. I'm like,
listening to see if you can hear him like walking around or
I'm
something.
like, yeah. So what I did right after it dropped, I sat there, and literally what sounded like someone walking away really quick, but trying to be quiet about it. So I put my ear against the door and I was listening because
Dude, like nervous,
Dude,
heart's racing. I
there's
bet. 'Cause
3
you think
ways to get out of my house: the back patio door, which is right outside of the bathroom,
In the
front
kitchen.
door, the front door, and then the kitchen garage door.
Yeah.
So
All in the
I'm
same
just
spot.
listening for one of those 3 doors because I know what all of them sound like. I'm just listening for one of those 3 doors to see if someone's leaving. Never heard a door shut, so I'm like, whatever's here is still in this fucking house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where do I go though? I'm like, my gun's in my bedroom, which is down the hallway, and the knives are in the kitchen where this person is. I'm like, what do I do? I'm just sitting there. I think
Is the water on right now? Like
No,
so it's dead quiet.
Dead quiet.
Dead quiet.
Dead quiet. That's how I heard.
The only thing you can hear is your heart racing.
Yes, and that's what it was. And I was like, what am I gonna do? So I think after 10 minutes, probably like 5 minutes, I opened the door, just looking around, I go into my bedroom, I grabbed my gun, I went through my entire house, opened every closet, looked under every bed, Not a single thing. All my doors, everything's locked. Windows locked, doors locked, everything. And then I went into the kitchen, and there was a fork on the floor. Just finished the dishes 2 hours ago. If you see my house, like you've seen my house,
There's nothing on. He doesn't keep like. I keep a bunch of shit on the
Nothing
counter.
on the
He
counter.
doesn't keep nothing on the counter.
It drives me nuts. Dishes especially. Sometimes they'll be in the sink for a couple days, but I did these dishes in the drawers or in the dishwasher, completely there. And there's a fork. It's not like I left
Dude.
the fork on the ground and I forgot it was there.
Yeah.
I heard the sound of it falling. Where was it before it fell? Definitely not on the counter because I make sure it's not. It was on the floor.
Yeah, and even if it was on the counter, if you like forgot one, the odds of it just like
Falling.
sitting right there.
And I wasn't
then,
in the
like,
kitchen for 2 hours
Yeah.
at this point. I never. That's like the whole like the golf club thing. Like you touch these.
The golf
things.
club and yeah, that is.
That bag is tippy, but we didn't touch the golf club
No,
for
no,
9
like the
hours.
one on the door too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that, just tipping over.
It didn't
like,
take 9 hours to tip it over.
No,
You know what I mean?
especially if you were down there like
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. And then
That golf bag is the first unexplainable thing that's ever happened to me. And
Yeah,
then the chair.
the chair is weird.
Dude, because we were just like on the last podcast, we were talking about this, and he's like, no, like, I'm like, dude, there is definitely like things that you cannot explain. That
Mhm.
That's the first time anything unexplainable has happened. Tell them the box in your bedroom story you're telling me today.
Oh,
The crackers
okay.
fell on the
dude,
floor.
What am I think I just leave a camera up for like.
I don't want to. It's
Yeah,
something that
'cause
I don't want to know.
You don't.
honestly. Just,
You just
I
seeing
couldn't
that-
live there by
I don't
myself.
exactly. I don't want to
I'd be
have to
too
sell my
scared.
house because I saw something in my house.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah, you're right. If I recorded it and I knew for sure,
Yeah,
then
you'd
I'd
be
like,
stupid not to leave. And
yep,
then I
I
gotta
have
go
to
through
leave.
that.
I have to leave.
And
Like,
it sucks. I like my house. I like living where I'm living. I don't want to have to do that. So as long as this thing's not harming me.
yeah,
And the
it's
weirdest
just
thing,
weird stuff. But
It's
you're
just
like,
weird, and-
they're like letting you know they're.
And like I was
Do
saying,
you know the history of the house at all?
it was literally built in 2011. I'm the second owner.
yeah, it's a brand new house.
Yeah. Exactly, dude. It's not. I can't be on it. Like no one died in it. There's one
Unless
owner.
it was like built on something.
Yeah, that could be like
That's what we were saying. What if it's like Indian burial grounds or something?
the area.
Which
like,
we've actually worked over those places. Like, and they'll come in. They'll say if you guys dig up any bones when you're excavating.
well, they
here-
just did one on the east side of the lake. They're like a huge one.
Really?
Yeah, the guy was gonna either he's building a house or doing an addition, and this was like 3 weeks ago. The sheriff's department 24/7 got the whole thing locked down because they got like the historians and all that going
Yeah.
through it.
They-
I'm sure it'll be in the
They
news
don't mess
soon.
around
now.
with that. So that's the only explanation, unless something followed me
Yeah.
from anywhere I've been in my past. But I've never really had anything like this happen. And then I told
Have you had anybody like pass away or anything like in the family recently? Like they're just like, hey, I'm here,
well, my grandma just died 2 weeks ago, but
but it's all been
this has
happening
been
before
happening
that.
for the last like year.
Well, sorry to hear that, but
No,
yeah.
that's
I like maybe if something was like recent happened or but yeah, that was all before.
it's just weird stuff. I was just telling him today. My back patio door.
Just the box one or
No, this is the other one. This is
Oh,
another one.
jeez.
You can wait
Yeah,
for that
he's
one.
got quite a few of them.
So this one, you come up my basement stairs, and you're looking in the dining room, and I have a double glass, like a patio sliding door, straight ahead of the stairs once you get up it. And I have curtains just like this, probably the same exact transparency as these curtains, where you can slightly see through them, but not very. It was dusk, so it was almost completely dark out, but it was still light enough to see through these curtains against the snow. I came up these stairs, and in the corner of my eye, I told him it literally looked like a silhouette of a person standing on my back concrete patio, just looking in my house, like, through these curtains, just standing there. And it was out of the corner of my eye, so I couldn't like look straight at this. But as soon as it caught my attention, I looked up, and it looked like someone just walking past, just
Like
walking,
quick.
just really quick, like they knew I looked at them. It was not long enough for me to actually look up and see someone standing there.
yeah, but
Corner of my eye, thought someone was there, looked up, and they're already passing my view. I'm like, what the hell? So I go up to the window and look, and I don't see anything. And then the next day, I go outside, and there's literally footprints in the snow. Doesn't look like person footprints though. Like not impressionable. Like,
just like a drag mark or something.
and I've seen foxes and deer in my yard, but
But those have like a specific.
like tiny,
Yeah,
tiny
print, too.
footprints. It's
What the heck, dude?
Tell him the box one, Cracker Jack box. Or
This is
whatever.
just 2 nights ago. I told him I started watching this show on Netflix called Surviving Death. It's talking about people's near-death experiences. It's talking about reincarnation, signs from loved ones after they pass, all that just weird spiritual stuff. So I'm watching that for a while.
This is a Netflix series.
Yeah, it's actually really
I don't want to
interesting.
watch that.
It's super,
it sounds
it's
really
super
good. Like I
interesting.
want to watch it, but as soon as I move into the house, there's no way in hell I'd want to.
Yeah, one of the episodes gave me an eerie feeling because it was literally talking about like spirits and demons and stuff and how that's the same as reincarnation and that's people and what makes them do this instead of passing on.
Yeah.
So it's talking about that, and then I think it's
Dude.
3 a.m, witching hour.
Ah.
I turn
Dude,
my TV
that
off.
scares me too.
Which
Like,
that
time.
that flipped at in the 3 o'clock hour. We went to bed after it was 3:11.
Everything happens at 3. I wake up at 3, and
Just to wake up.
It's scary
The eerie feeling.
just to know it's that time when I get
oh
up.
yeah.
Like
I
I'll
have
usually
that.
get up at 3 a.m., go into my basement, and just to know that it's 3 o'clock, and I'm like sitting in my basement, it's freaky.
And
but-
you have all these things that have happened. Like otherwise you wouldn't care. Like you
Right.
wouldn't- Yeah.
And now, I mean, most of these things actually happen around that time, honestly. But yeah, I turn the TV off, and I try to go to bed. It's completely dark. I'm just thinking about the show I just watched, how it's talking about these spirits and how they'll give you a sign if they want to and stuff like that. I'm just chilling, thinking about it. Can't really sleep. And there was a box of crackers on my end table on the other side of the bed. And it just
Dude.
falls to the ground, like, loud. And I sit there, I'm like, you ever get that feeling where you hear a noise like that and instantly you just
Yeah, your
all
heart's
you
just like
feel all you feel is your heart
adrenaline.
and
Oh,
the
yeah.
blood pumping through your face. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting there, I'm like, and all you can see when my room is dark.
Your breath is like
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, dude.
And you look and you can see my doorway. I told him you can see just the light. I keep the light that's under my stove. My stove light is always on. That's the only light in my house when I'm going to bed. And you can see just a little bit of that light. So you can see into the hallway just through my doorway, and that's all you can see. So I was literally staring there looking for a silhouette crawling out of my room or something because I didn't know what the hell it was. I'm like, I have a fan on, so I'm like, okay, the fan just blew it over. But I'm like, but
Yeah,
it is a
you're trying to
it is a
rationalize.
full box of crackers. That's pretty heavy, and the fan's blowing towards it, not away from it. I'm like, oh, maybe the wind went behind it, bounced off the wall.
Yeah, you're rationalizing
I'm
everything.
just silly. I said nothing could have done it. I'm like, what if someone's been under my bed this whole time? I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, no, I'd feel it under me, or I'd hear something on the
Yeah.
floor, and all of a sudden I'm just sitting there, and I can't make the noise because I'm not at home. But I showed him this morning. All of a sudden I hear like
Little bits of pounding on
like
the
a
floor.
little running.
yes, like
Like a little kid
on the
running
carpet,
or
like
s-
it's like someone rolling around on my carpet. I'm like, what is going on,
Dude,
And then
and you
I'm-
just watch that show
Yes.
too, so you're just
That's why I think my mind was making half of this stuff up, especially because I'm like, well, if someone was under my bed, I'm laying on this bed, I would feel it underneath me. I'd feel something, just like the slightest thing. I swear to God, I felt literally in my side that was laying on the bed. I felt like
somebody.
just a little touch. I'm like, I'm doing this to myself.
So is it like the placebo effect? Like, what if like I would have this happen and then it happens? Like,
I think that's exactly what it is. Like I
Like your
looked
brain
into this
playing-
stuff.
Well, that would be like coincidence. That would be like I was just thinking of Kyle, and then Kyle calls me. Like that's just coincidence. But like a placebo would be like I don't know. I'm trying to like what would relate to that situation. Like you, I don't know how the placebo would work in that like.
but is it just
That
like his brain
situation,
playing
like-
tricks? Like
Yeah,
hearing
like
it?
the feeling maybe
Yeah.
could be like that, like or like
Well-
the hearing could possibly
But
be that.
something
like,
definitely
but
flipped
the box
that on the
itself,
floor.
yeah,
Right, the box
You
itself-
can't flip that
But
with
that
your
other
brain.
stuff, hearing on the carpet and
Yeah,
then feeling the touch on my side, I think that was my, because you've heard of like phantom phone syndrome, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When you
or
have
like-
a phone in your pocket for so long, you feel it vibrate, but
Yeah.
you won't have your phone in your pocket. All of a sudden, you'll feel your pocket vibrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally just your brain is so used to that feeling. It's
Yeah, like
It's-
creates it.
yeah.
Yeah. I could see that. Like, yeah, like the placebo of that. Like,
so I think
you
I was
thought you did this, so then you felt this
right.
like, happen.
I was waiting
the-
to feel that because that's
the-
what I was expecting.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
I felt.
yeah.
That's,
Maybe not even like you weren't even aware of it for like a second,
Mhm.
but like subconsciously you're like, that was a fear in your head that just happened.
Yeah. So I went.
But the box itself, no.
yeah, that was weird.
Did you just lay there then?
Literally just
Like-
went to bed, closed my. I literally closed my eyes. I was like,
I'm dying.
Deal with
Oh,
this
wow.
later.
so I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah.
I closed
Dude,
my eyes.
I've
went to
had
sleep.
like one time in like 8th grade, I think. It was down in my basement or whatever, and that was where my room was, and I could not sleep. It was like 11 o'clock or whatever, and we had a basketball tournament the next day. And I turned the TV off, and I'm laying there, and probably for like an hour, I'm like, I can't sleep. So, then I'm just kept laying there. And then, dude, like this weird feeling came over me. I'm like, what? Like, like just this goosebumps, like this eerie, like I felt like somebody was just standing there staring at me, dude. So then I'm just like getting kind of nervous or whatever. And then I'm just like slowing my heart down or whatever. And I fell asleep. Well, then I woke up again at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I could feel it, like somebody was just standing there just looking at me. And I'm like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, literally, it felt like somebody just like pushed me into the bed. Like I felt like I was getting pushed into the bed. I'm like, what the heck?
Oh,
like, and my breath got, like where it's like, freaking out. And all of a sudden, I was like it was like having like a panic attack. But I've never ever have had anything like that, and I've never had it since that or whatever. Oh. And then the next day, I was like super tired, and my mom, because we all went to like Justin's house or whatever, the basketball team after the tournament. She's like, "You tired or whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I couldn't sleep last night. It was just it was just weird." And she's like, "Did you like? What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I just felt like somebody was like there with me." And she's like so they were watching you? And I'm just like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Me too." She had the same night, same thing happen where like it felt like somebody was just standing there like just like
right,
just there, like the presence of somebody. It was so weird.
That's the worst when more than one.
Oh yeah, people. That's when I was like, okay. I was like, at first, you just like maybe thought like, yeah, you had like this weird dream or like you were just panicking over stupid, like your brain was playing tricks on you. But then she said it too, and I'm like, yeah. All right, now it's kind of.
Who said it?
My mom. And I'm like, the same night. I'm like, yeah. Now I'm like, what the hell?
That's weird when that happens.
Dude, Anna's dad has some pretty wild stories
heard
too.
of some of the stories, like which road?
Yeah,
Callan Road.
Like he used to hunt out there, and like the little girl in like 1800s dress and all that, and like that's been. They actually on The Haunting or whatever, like the TV show, they talk about that and like I think there's like filming of that stuff too. Yeah, that's and the one time he said he woke up at like midnight. And he's like, I gotta go to Stevie's. I don't remember the guy's name. And he's like, I gotta go check on him. Like he just had this weird like feeling. He went over there, dude. He's a big guy or something. I think he slipped, and it was a big snowstorm and stuff. He like slipped and he fell and like got stuck or couldn't get up or something. And sure enough, like Mike went over there and like. He would have froze to death or whatever because he was just laying there for like an hour, and then he ended up helping him. Yeah, I don't know the whole. It was something like that. Anna knows it.
I think we might have talked about that on the last one too, maybe. Because Anna tells that story pretty good. She knows what happened.
I don't think you told the story. You were talking about how all the stuff happened to her dad, but you didn't tell any specifics. I was hoping that you guys or she would have.
She has some good ones. Story. Yeah, like the one he was like. He was out hunting or whatever, and he was getting down from the stand, and he started walking back to the truck or whatever, and he saw this little girl with a basket just like walking through the middle of the field, and he started yelling at her. He's like, hey, where are your parents? Like trying to get her to stop. He like turns to look for other people to see like why this girl's just walking in the middle of the field. Turns back, she's gone. Yeah, he like his like hair sticks up on his arms. Like he's like certain that happened.
That's wild.
He's got a couple weird ones. The one with the light, she told that one on the last one.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that one though? Like you guys are talking about the house that's right outside of Rosendale. Or was that a different light?
The light. Oh no, there's a light on which road too that you'll see the light.
Who was talking about that house that's right outside of Rosendale? That house.
What are you talking about?
You guys were talking about it. I think Anna said something about it. Anna said something about Miss Pilsel was talking about it. That she lived in that house. It's
the one that was like the daycare or whatever?
Yeah. It's like right off of 26 there. And it's a house they were talking about it because Miss Pilsel used to talk about that house. And Brianna Brock actually lived in that.
The farmhouse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brianna Brock lived in that house. And for our class, I don't know if you were in the same class, she presented, that was her presentation, was how haunted her house was. And she showed pictures. They took pictures down the hallway.
Yes.
And there was literally
There's
something-
orbs and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that. Dude, we have a picture of my mom's niece, maybe, when she was like a baby. I don't know. It was after my grandma died. She was in my aunt's house, and as like this little infant, you can see an orb clear as frickin' day before like Photoshop, all that, like on the old frickin' like little shit cameras. Dude, you can see, it's my grandma. Like, you can see so clearly somebody's sitting there holding her. Like, it's so obvious. We're trying to find that picture because it is like, there's no explanation for it, dude.
It's on like one of them disposable cameras.
Yeah, it's so obvious. And this was in the early 2000s where we didn't have Photoshop. We didn't have all the technology now to, add that stuff in there. And like, my aunt, no way she knows how to do any of that crap. She just got them all done or whatever, and then flipping through, and sure enough, like, she's just sitting on just a picture of her like on the couch, like sleeping, like, I don't know, like random pictures you would take, and sure enough, like, somebody's holding her.
Yeah, you should watch the show I'm talking about. Talks
I'm
about
too
all kinds
scared.
of stuff like that. It was talking about like this one story. This person, he had a Polaroid camera, where it prints itself instantly.
Yeah.
He said this one certain camera he used with a one special type of film. He just got it from his dad for his birthday. He was young. He was in his house just taking pictures, and he saw like literally figures of people, just faintly white, just like a gas kind of stuff, like a smoky.
Yeah.
And he kept on seeing it, so he kept taking pictures. And every single time, this is like in a different spot, doing a different thing. And he's like, well, what the hell is this? And eventually, like, everyone heard of it, and they'd have parties there. They'd have like 40 people there that'd bring their own cameras and try to take pictures of this. It wouldn't work on anyone's camera except if it was that specific brand with that specific film. They started asking it questions, and they'd take a picture, and all of a sudden, it'd almost write out yes, or it'd write out words in the smoke. But the smoke isn't actually in this room. It's literally only on the film when they took it. I don't know, that's pretty crazy.
That was one of the
episodes? Part of one of the episodes.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Surviving Death, I think.
Surviving.
Dude.
It's a document. It goes through everyone's different lives and their own stories. It starts out, the first episode is probably the most interesting. It's literally talking about people's near-death experiences. This one girl, the first story, she's in a kayak. She's white river rafting. And she gets bumped off of the route and goes over like a 200-foot waterfall, straight to the bottom. She said she feels all of her ribs break against the rocks underneath. It's just pinning her down. And she feels herself die. And she literally said this whole experience, she came out of the water, just her soul, literally lifted above the water.
Above the body.
Yeah. Saw her friends grabbing her boat, freaking out and stuff. She's watching them do this. And she floats up. And she said, honestly, I experienced it all. I could tell you exactly what they said. Well, I was underwater. She said I was underwater for, I think, 35 minutes. And she said she was just watching everything. She came back and she told them what every person said.
Really?
Sorry.
But,
Surviving Death. What happens after we die? This docuseries.
Wait. Keep going with that.
well, yeah, so she came out of her body. And then she said she went to this place. And she saw all of her family members that have passed. She saw her dad. And she was talking to her dad. I think it was her dad. And she's like, oh, my God, this is awesome that I can be with you again. And he's like...
Because her dad already passed.
Yeah,
passed
I think
away.
it was her dad. It might have been her
So
mom.
she was like, did she say, like, this is a room? This was just like...
They were asking her these questions, and she's just like...
That she
it
couldn't,
was just a
like-
place. It's like the best place ever. There's no pain. Instantly, not a single ounce of pain. And all of a sudden, they told me, like, no, you got to go back for him. They're worried about you. You better go back. And she's like, I don't want to go back. This is so much better than my whole life.
just like this joyful...
Yeah. She's like, I don't want to go back. And she's like, I'll come get you when you're ready. So she said, like, this is literally right as they found her body. They were just trying to find her body because they knew she was dead at this point, just to get her body just as like a recovery. Pull her out, it's like 30 minutes later, and she's, completely dead, just pale, cold. And so right when she was told to go back to her body, she's literally floating down, sees her body, sees them just like sitting there with her. She goes back into her body, and then she wakes up in her body. And they're all staring at her like
Like what?
Like how are you alive right now? She literally survived it. and then fully recovered. But then the creepiest part, she says, when I was there, I was told that like she had 2 sons. One of them was, I think they were both like really young. She's like, when I was there, I was told my son isn't gonna live past 18. Like someone told me. And she said, but I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. She said, so on my son's like 17th or 18th birthday, I finally came in his room and I told him about this. I told him like his whole life I've been worried for him because I was told this, but I've never believed it anyway. It looks like it's not true. And he said it was kind of weird. But like it was like a couple weeks after he turned 18, I think he was skiing or something, but he literally died from a freak accident right at 18. And she said, I knew his whole life. I was told when I went to this place. Like, it's just so weird. But she's like, at least I know where he is and how he's so much better now, and I'll be there with him eventually.
Dude. I got goosebumps thinking about
And it's
that.
weird because
there's so many stories like that.
And what's the purpose of someone making something like that up? What is the purpose?
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I think it's so wild. Like them little kids that are like 3 and they go to heaven or whatever. Like Heaven is Real. That's a good movie. And he's like, yeah, I saw you praying to God or whatever.
Yeah, in a different room.
Yes. Well, and the little kid knew like he was in a different room.
That's all the stories on the show. You gotta watch it. You like it,
dude. Or like little kids that'll be like, "That's me," and they'll point to a picture from like 1900s, and
I literally
and
feel like I feel like you've watched this show because this is literally in chronological order.
No, I haven't. I swear I haven't.
They literally go through every single kind of
like that
story, just like that.
Yeah, like
there's a
I
little.
love stories like that.
There's a 4-year-old boy who was in the back seat of his mom's car. And he's like, I used to play at that park. And she's like, what do you mean? I've never brought you there. She's like, and the boy's like, no, with my other mommy. She's like, what do you mean your other mommy? It's like my mom with the long hair when I was like Jamie Johnson or whatever the name was.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? So she searched the name. It was literally a little kid that died like a few years prior. And they took pictures of like all like the park. It's like they had a person come
reaching out to people to figure out the story.
They had to come, like someone come, and the guy showed like 2 or 3 pictures, said which one was your mom, pointed at the exact one, like which one was the park you went to, pointed where was your house, literally every single picture instantly pointed right at it, and he was 100% correct on every single one, like instantly, didn't even think about it.
Yeah, dude, and like there's one about a little kid like from war and stuff, and he goes through and he's like, yep, and he starts telling his mom about all this stuff, and she's like, what the hell? So then she like starts looking back, and sure enough, like all of it matched up, like all these stories he was telling, like finds who this guy is, and like goes to his family, and like, yeah, he did this and this. Like, it's so wild. My mom and her sisters, they had a Ouija board. I will not touch one of them.
Jason just did last night
in
the VR game.
We did one in Point. Remember?
Yeah.
Them girls that Austin knew that we went to their house, and that's where we would always sleep.
We did do
and they
board.
claimed that there was some dude that lived there, and they knew his name and stuff. And they brought that Ouija board down, but nothing happened.
No, dude, not for me.
Remember, you were there when we did it. It was just us two, and then them 2 girls. I forget whatever their names were. Austin was friends with them.
My mom and her sisters did one at my grandma's house, right in Fond du Lac or whatever, when they were younger. The railroad tracks, like right underneath the Johnson Street Bridge. What road is that?
Brook Street?
Brook Street, right on Brook Street. The railroad track used to run through there. Now it's
Yeah.
like the bike trail or whatever. They did it, and it said, "See man run." Like, that's what it spelled out. And literally, like, minutes later, somebody was just running down the railroad tracks. And they're like, oh, like, what the heck, like, laughing. Turns out that right before that, the neighbor, because the railroad tracks ran through there, so, like, homeless people and bombs would just, they all, jumping through there. Went to the neighbor's house or whatever and was asking for food or whatever. And she brought him something. Well, then he tried getting in the door to get at her, so she like was slamming the door on him, and then like yelling for help, and then he took off running down the railroad tracks.
And that's what they saw.
And then they saw that. So she's like, I'll never ever touch one again. Like, it was just a small thing like that, but she's like, nope. You can pause. I gotta take. You gotta take. I'm taking a piss in a sec. Yeah, the golf club. I have no explanation for that, really. Besides
Whole bag.
the whole bag.
No, the club is the most unexplainable.
And the fork. Because 2 hours.
Well, it could be explained.
Get in it. You got
It could be that somehow I forgot that I set a fork on the edge of the counter. Like it could have.
I thought
happened.
that, but
Everything could have happened. Could have been me. I can't explain it myself because I don't remember it. But
how did it fall 2 hours later?
That's the weird part. But I try to instantly just like justify things happening just by
Like the cracker box.
Right.
Like, maybe the fan did this, or there's a mouse that was.
I don't have mice.
I fucking hate mice.
Yeah, when you guys were talking about that, I'm like, I could never. I fucking hate mice.
Yeah, they were
I could never.
Big fear of mine. Oh, I forgot my wall.
I just don't know how it. Why am I haunted? When I was a little kid, I'd have dreams, just like you were talking about, like when more than one people see something.
Yeah.
When I was like 4 years old, sleeping at my old house in Fond du Lac on Forest Avenue, Jake and I shared a bunk bed. He was on the top bunk, I was on the bottom. I woke up in the middle of the night. It's like 2 a.m. I literally opened my eyes. It's dark in my room, but literally right on the side of my bed, in the middle of my room, there's like a cat. We don't have cats, and it's just this cat just staring at me, like green eyes, just literally staring at me. I'm like, what the hell? And there's an opening by the head of my bed that goes to the hallway. So I literally jumped off my bed from the front, ran to my parents' room. I literally slept in my parents' room. They didn't know why. And the next morning, they were asking me, like, why'd you sleep in here last night? I'm like, I saw a cat when I was sleeping. My mom's like, what? I'm like, there was a cat staring at me, so that's why I came in by you guys. She's like, and she told me years later, she's like, that same exact night before you came in there, like 20 minutes before you came and slept by us, I had a dream of a cat, and I was awake, but I thought I was sleeping. A cat jumped up on her bed. It was literally crawling up. I could feel it crawling up my body, just staring at me. And then you came in like 20 minutes later and slept in there.
And then you told them.
And I saw a cat staring at me. It was like literally the same exact night. And she didn't tell me until years later because she didn't want to scare me when I was a kid. But like literally just a cat, you know? Like if it was a person. We had someone try to break into our house in Rosendale.
Really?
I think it was a person, a real person, and not.
Yeah.
My dad was working out of town. We were all asleep upstairs. My mom slept. You've been at my house in Rosendale.
Yeah.
Do you know where my parents' room is? On the
Yeah.
corner of the house, bottom floor.
Yeah,
We're all
like
upstairs.
the main floor, and all the
Yeah.
kids were upstairs, right?
And you know that they have 2 big windows in their room that look out to our back to the woods and our patio. So she woke up in the middle of the night, looked out that window, literally right behind her head, and she saw a man walking up our back porch stairs, walking up to the back, and could hear him literally on the back door. So she got on the ground and she crawled in the hallway where our dog was sleeping in the hallway, trying to wake our dog up to bark or something. But he was so old he couldn't even hear. Our dog didn't even wake up. She's just trying to wake him up. She's freaking out. Calls Mark Scoopus. He lives
right across the street.
Down the street a ways.
Yeah.
Literally called him at 2:30 in the morning. Said I think someone's breaking in. He jumped in his car, drove up to our house as fast as he could, and she said she was looking outside. As soon as his headlights went through the windows, like pulling up to the house, this dude jumped off the porch and just literally ran. So she was so freaked out from that point on, and she never told us that for years later because she didn't want to scare us.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god.
Speaking of that, like, I've been waking up lately, and I think I sleepwalk. Because since like the house got broken into, I like every night I make sure that that door is at least dead bolted.
Yeah.
It's dead bolted. Like that's.
Yeah, you
like,
got it.
I
You
know
can tell that story when you're done.
About what, getting broken
Yeah.
into? Yeah. So like, I make sure that deadbolt's locked and the doors are locked before I go to bed. Like when I shut the lights off, is the door locked?
That's part of it.
And I've been waking up to go to work and it's unlocked. I've cleared the house a couple times in the morning because I'm like, somebody had to have opened it. Like I know that every night I check to make sure it's locked. So I think I sleepwalk and I unlock
And you
doors
open it.
and I go outside.
You think you go outside?
Why do I unlock the door? I don't know.
That could be though, like
Well, I mean-
sleepwalking and stuff, like a PTSD thing. Like,
Yeah.
Like you're worried of that, so like
'Cause-
that could be your like thing where you're like always checking the door, but then you're actually.
You should set up a camera for that.
and
Yeah,
you
that's
see.
been happening a lot
You
lately.
should see, yeah.
Because I'll be going to work and then I'll like, as I'm like reaching, I'm like, why is this unlocked?
Dude,
And
what-
at first I'm like, you fucking idiot. You just
You
slept
forgot.
all night. You know that like, you need to keep this locked. And
Yeah.
so then like
Now you're aware.
It's, like,
Now
aware
you're
of
like-
it, and it's still happening.
How freaky.
Yeah, you better check.
If you set up a camera.
And it wasn't you.
No, you watch. And every night you get up, you unlock the door, you open it, and let someone in.
Oh my
And then
gosh,
they leave.
dude.
You shut the door and go back to bed. What would you do if you
Oh, dude, you're getting me like somebody's in the house right
I
now.
want to write like horror stories, dude. That shit just like I just think of the creepiest possible thing. Just like you open this door, this
That would
person.
be the creepiest.
Can
This
you imagine?
person
Could
walks
you
in.
imagine? Do you have any like relatives that passed away or anything?
Not recently.
Well, like in general. Like
Yeah, I
like-
lived at my great grandma's house
Yeah.
when she
Could
died.
you imagine if he opened the door, welcomed him in, sat down, and was just sitting there like
Talk to him.
talking to him, and then just
If it was somebody that I knew, I wouldn't care. If it was
And
like my great
that
grandma,
would be awesome.
I'd be like,
No, that would be awesome.
I'd be like, why can't I remember what we're talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'd be mad that I couldn't remember.
That
but
would
if it
be
what if
super
it's somebody
cool.
random?
But if it was like if like you had like this fear in your face, like when it was like happening, or
No,
like,
no, no. Even better.
I'm getting
I
goosebumps.
I
just,
open.
like,
What if I
ah,
open?
it's so wild.
What if I open the door, leave it open, come in to sit down, the door shuts, and then I sit here like talking
Start
to
talking
nobody.
to nothing. You're just
Okay,
But something
laughing
shut the
and-
door.
that would
Like
be?
I open it,
Oh
leave
my
it
God,
open,
you're just
and
sitting
then
there
all of a sudden the
laughing
door
and-
shuts. And
Yeah,
we go
dude,
sit
you're
down.
having-
mad, you get up and you start yelling.
you're having
stuff.
good like you're having
Yeah.
good conversation. Would you be okay with that?
No.
What if you
No.
sit down, you start a podcast, and you're literally talking, all of a sudden you play back the recording the next day, and you're talking to no one.
Oh, dude.
But I think because I was telling like my grandparents about it, like yeah, it's some like I think I sleepwalk.
You should definitely start like
And then like they're like, well, hope you wear clothes at night. And, like, what if you like sleep
Walk
naked
outside.
and go walk outside or something?
you should put something in front of the door, or put powder or something on the thing one time and
That-
just see if like,
That'd be freaky.
My brother used to sleepwalk,
so you
and I
might.
used to sleepwalk. I know
yeah.
I did.
So now you should probably do. You should put something on there or record it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think
Like,
powder would be
Well,
freaky.
powder would be
That'd
wild
that'd be
because
freaky.
like especially if you put it on the floor right there and there's like footprints and they weren't yours.
You'd know it's mine because I have child feet.
Yeah, I know. Matt, like
What
Like
if
if they're Bigfoot.
What if the door's unlocked and there's no footprints on the powder?
oh, oh, jeez, that's terrible. You should do that. You should start that
We
because
should-
I'd be
we
like
should be
cool
paranormal,
experiment.
paranormal investigators.
I think I sleepwalk. And I'm opening my doors. I don't
What
know
if
why.
you sleptwalked last night at my house, tipped over the golf clubs?
No, because I was awake when.
Or
it
you
happened.
woke up and they were standing.
Dude, what if you heard them fall and you were scared or whatever, and you fell asleep last night, you woke up and they were standing back up? Would you have thought you were just dreaming?
Mm.
Mm. Would you have said anything?
Yeah, because he's got the
all
bunch
the
of stories. Like,
That's pretty wild though. Are you afraid of the dark?
yeah.
No.
And then why would you ask me that?
No,
That's what would have been
I
running through my
literally,
head.
there was nothing.
Did
there
you
was-
hear me yell at you though?
No, I swear to God. There was
Because
nothing.
I yelled. I was like, haha, real funny.
I did
like-
not hear a single thing.
Because I thought you were fucking with me.
You actually yelled though?
Yeah, I was like, haha, real funny.
Yeah, he would.
Did you
do
hear
that.
my fan turn on in my room? Was this before? No, I
No.
went and brushed my teeth right away. I probably didn't hear you because I had the faucet on.
No, but you were I could hear you walking up the steps when it fell.
I swear to God,
So I
I
don't
did
know
not
how
hear you say a thing.
Your
And my-
alarm woke me up this morning, so you can hear in your house. So you should have been able to hear me yell at you.
I didn't hear a thing.
That is funny though.
The
His
rea-
alarm woke me up, and then I go upstairs, and his head's right next to the alarm, still
I
sleeping.
am the deepest sleeper. That's what scares me. That's
Literally, I
what scares
thought
me.
I'm like-
if someone does break into my house,
Yeah, you're.
I
done.
won't do a thing unless they literally come up and wake me up.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
such a light sleeper now that my
Oh.
house got broken into.
Ugh.
Everything
I wish
wakes
I
me up.
was. I wish I was a light sleeper.
Dude, I don't think I'm gonna get good sleep at this house. I don't think I can move. I don't think I can physically stay there until everything's renovated, where it's like
Right.
mine.
Yeah.
Different.
Because if I go there now, no way. When I walk in, I already have the eerie feeling that her grandma died in the house too. So
And
I already-
she's buried across the street.
I already have an eerie feeling like we're pretty sure she's in heaven, like sweetest like lady ever, but you never know. Like maybe she's just checking on you. Like maybe she's looking over. Like maybe that's honest guardian angel now, or like it's just
You gotta watch this show.
no.
You guys gotta watch this show. It's everything you're putting through your mind already.
Yeah, I know,
This
but
will give you
that would
closure
just
on
assure it.
studies.
Yeah, that would give me closure, as in like, oh yeah, it's definitely real. It's not just me thinking it. But I do love like stories like that.
Yeah.
It's, like I used to look into those, but now there's a show. That's kind of
It's really good. Oh, and the reason I literally just said that because it's dark in my basement. You turn off all the lights and it's super fucking dark. And
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
pitch
know
black.
I didn't know if you wanted me to shut the door. Like if
Like,
you like
leave
if
a
you like
light.
sleeping in pitch dark, I'll shut the
Yeah.
door. Make sure all the lights are off. I could turn the light on in the bathroom if you want it light. That's the only reason I asked. It was not. It's not.
I do like when it's pitch dark.
Yeah,
But I
I do
also like
too.
to fall asleep to like a TV sometimes.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but like sometimes. Like,
Yeah, I have a fan going.
I always have. Yeah, I have to have my fan. Like my fan runs 24/7. I just let it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the only way I can fall asleep. Even when I'm at Anna's, I'm trying to fall asleep, and I'm like, something is missing here, and then I just go, yeah, you gotta turn the fan on.
Mm-hmm. I'm in hotels all the time, and I'll just crank the AC and turn the fan on, and just try to get that thing as loud as I can.
Yep.
Put pillows in
Yeah,
front of
because
the door.
when they get home next to me, I hear their car doors slam,
And you're
and
in.
I wake up because I'm like, somebody's breaking in.
Yeah, you tell that story.
Of what? Oh, all right. So, it was the first weekend of December. I moved in the beginning of September, and this happened. It was the first weekend of December. So it gets dark at like 4 p.m.
So 2
It's-
months in the house.
yeah. It's like gets dark at like 4 p.m. I left at 6 p.m. to go down and shoot pool with my dad. Like we're gonna meet at the pool hall, play for a couple hours, and I was gonna drive home. So we do that. I drive home.
You went down to Milwaukee?
Yeah, down to Milwaukee. And at the time, I never left any lights on in the house because I'm like, I ain't wasting electricity, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Trying to be a cheap ass. So I know that I leave the house pitch black when I'm gone. Get home, it's just past midnight. Pull past the driveway, and I'm like, why are the kitchen lights on? You fucking idiot, you left the lights on. Way to go. And then I'm like, I never leave the lights on. Pull in the garage, and then I get past the house, and the screen door's propped open. And I'm like, did it not lock? Like, wind blew it open? All of a sudden, I see the silhouette of light from the house that the inside door's open and cracked yet. I'm like, right away, I'm like, someone broke in. Get out of the car, like, walk up to the house, sure, like, you see the doors all split apart.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you gotta be and then I'm pissed. Like, walk through the house, like,
You just walked right in?
walked right in, didn't say anything, but I'm like, TV's gone, PlayStation's gone.
They could have been in the house still.
Well, I was like pissed. I'm like,
pissed.
someone's in my fucking house, and my 150-pound, 5'7"
gonna throw some
skinny ass
hands.
is gonna throw hands with
Or
these
yell
dudes.
a lot.
Yeah, like what the fuck was I thinking? Well, I'm like, guitars are gone, PlayStation's gone, TV's gone. Like the house, literally all that's left is furniture, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like
Dude.
guns are gone, everything's gone. Basement doors open, propped open. Go downstairs. All my totes are gone through. Like the covers are off. Like shit's thrown all
Like
over
they
the
went
place.
through this thing for a long
Went in
time.
my bedroom.
How did
My closet's all tore apart. My dresser's all tore apart. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like they went through everything. My jackets are gone. There's sweatshirts gone. And I'm
What
like,
the-
call my mom. I'm like, yeah, someone broke in my house. Like, do I call 911 or is this like a non-emergency deal? Like, what do I do? She's like, call 911. I'm on my way. Like,
So she,
so she
came up.
started driving up. Call 911, and they're like, well, whatever you do, don't go in the house. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I'm already in the house. They're like, well, you need to leave the house. Like, they could still be there. You maybe just didn't see them.
Yeah.
So they're like, officers are on the way. Make sure when they come, like, you are outside, that
Yeah.
they know that.
Yeah, because they clear the house.
So then they come in, and they came in guns blazing, like screaming, like, if we, like, show yourself or
or we'll fucking
we're
shoot.
gonna start shooting. Like,
Yeah.
so then they cleared the house, and
Dude,
then
that
all
had
of
to
a
be
sudden,
intense just listening to that.
because I'm outside and I can hear them screaming.
Oh yeah. And you were just in here.
Yeah, I
Like,
was
you're
just
like,
in
dude,
there,
what
like-
if somebody's in there still?
Yeah, also like they walk out with someone in handcuffs. Oh my
I was hoping
God.
so. I was hoping
Could
so.
you imagine?
They could have been hiding behind your couch or like any weird.
Yeah. So then, like, the forensics team came in, and like, there's like a couple footprints and stuff. So then, like,
Oh really?
they're measuring stuff, taking pictures, and then as they're doing that, the cop has to go through with me, and I have to find what I can see is gone and how much I value it as, like, on spot.
Oh, that
What-
had to be hard.
Yeah, so I'm like, my guitars are gone. I paid this much. My guns are gone. My TVs are gone.
Did they take any of your records?
No.
My $200,000 cash that was under the bed. Insurance.
I had $12K.
So
My
then,
safe is gone.
yeah, they got. Well, I never locked my safe. There wasn't like the only thing. I have a safe. But like just like the title for my cars in there,
Yeah.
and like the stuff
Just
for
like
my house.
good in paperwork
Yeah.
or whatever for you. Just so
But
you
yeah,
have
that
somewhere.
went through. Now I keep it locked, but
Yeah.
they went through that. Like,
My lock's broken on my safe. Like the key's broke in it. So it's locked, like you can't open it. But if you see that the key's broken in, you just push your finger against it and turn it and it'll open. I use it more as just a fireproof box.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
keep
what I
all
was
my-
using.
yeah,
it
That's
for.
what I have
basically-
mine. I think when we go to the house, like the house or whatever, there's spots to bolt it down. I'll probably bolt it
Yeah.
down. It's pretty heavy, but anybody could. I mean, you could pick
Yeah.
it up and run with it if you wanted it.
Here, this house right behind me. Get this. So, I was in like the police station talking to the lead detective like once a week at least when they're finding shit, and then he'd ask me about like neighbors, like do I know my neighbors, and then like I think they called. Did they call you? I had to give them. They called you because I was supposed to go to your house that night, but I went by my dad. Remember? And then like I had to give them like friends' names that knew that I was gone.
Oh yeah.
So I had to give him like Levin, Brandon, I think you maybe, and then they were calling. But then turns out that this house behind me, the kid was flinging like heroin or something out the back window, and that's what I moved into. Cause one morning it was like Sunday morning at 7:30. I opened these blinds, and here's some fucking crackhead chick
Wow.
right up the driveway, right past
Your driveway.
right
Oh
past
my
my
God.
right past my garage, talk to that window, turns around, starts coming back. I open the door and I was like, if I ever fucking see you on this property again, we're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
I said the cops already know that what I'm seeing this happening right here. I've seen it before. I'm telling them again.
You said this before
as she's coming
the
back.
break in though.
This was after.
Right after. So now you're like.
Now
yeah,
I'm
what?
fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Open up that door and I'm fucking yelling.
Yeah.
And she's like, just like
Tweaking.
doesn't know what to do. Like, I'm like, if I see you again, guns are blazing.
Mhm.
Don't ever step on this property again. And she's just like, and then just turns around and sprints. And of course, like Monday morning, I call the detective and he's like, yeah, this is what we think happened. Like that house is being watched. Sure shit, they fucking like, you started seeing like cops on the corners just sitting
Yeah.
all night long. And they went like SWAT team blazing into that house one night.
Really?
And fucking pulled his ass out of that house.
That'd be pretty wild.
That was fucking wild. And then the dad sold the house. Another dude flipped it. Now there's another like young couple in there, so it's a quiet neighborhood again. But you used to like in the summer, that kid and his girlfriend would like tweak and start screaming at each other about who took the last hit of meth and like
Really?
yeah, that was my hit, and like he'd be screaming
You
at
could
her,
hear it.
and you could hear it. And me and my neighbor literally sat in my porch with a case of beer on and just sat there just fucking laughing, listening to this dude like tweaking out, like yelling at each other.
Good lord.
But yeah, that was fucking crazy. I
So
was fucking pissed.
Did you get a lot of stuff back?
I got all my guitars back.
You got all of them,
Yeah.
just not in good. I remember you
The
said some of them
electric ones are kind of scuffed up.
were,
Yeah.
yeah, from probably throwing them in the back of a truck or whatever.
That's a pretty funny story too. That cop comes, my acoustic they found in a house, but
Oh really?
yeah, that I get my electrics back.
Somebody buy it off like Craigslist or something?
No. I ask him, I'm like, where'd you guys get the electrics? He goes, well, these are the kind of knuckleheads we're dealing with. I'm like, all right, lay it on me. He's like, all of a sudden, some guy comes into the police station, your guitars, one in each hand. He goes, I just think these are stolen. He's like, run the serial numbers. Yeah, they're stolen. Come with me. We got some questions. Where'd you get them? Well, I just had a feeling. I got them from a buddy, and they're like starting to like interrogate him. Like,
Yeah.
Or not interrogate.
Oh yeah, it's
interrogated.
interrogated. Yeah.
He's like, here it comes out. He flat out told me, yeah, I sold them to my buddy so and so for a bag of heroin.
Oh.
And then he says my other buddy said that they're stolen. So he's like, I don't want them on my hands if they're stolen. So I just brought them in. I'm like, you wouldn't destroy them. You wouldn't
Yeah.
like go throw them in a field.
Maybe he liked music and he's like, I can't let these things go to waste.
But you would take them
Or
to the police
I guarantee
station.
he thought he was getting a reward.
Right.
Guarantee he was
Right.
getting a reward.
You were gonna pay him.
But
Yeah.
you're gonna tell the cops, yeah, I sold for a bag of heroin.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, that's
however
pretty
heroin
stupid.
sold. He's like, yeah, that's the kind of knuckleheads
That's
we're
like
dealing with.
have
right
you
here.
seen like certain police departments on Facebook and stuff will be like, hey, we found this bag of marijuana on 2nd Street
That's
and,
mine.
and like Macy, and all of a sudden like, if you want it, you can come pick it up or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
we know you probably lost it. And then the comments on there. But yeah, that's basically the same thing. Like those idiots, like, oh yeah, shoot, I gotta go get that.
Yeah. They 2 days after it, I get an email and a phone call, and he says, check your email. I emailed you. County cops pulled over a car last night full of junk, and he said, there's no way that it's not stolen, but they had to let him go because there wasn't charges like that to keep the car.
Yeah.
He said, so they took pictures. If you can identify anything,
Then they can go get them.
we can go get them. So I went through.
You have them
and-
on there?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can pull them
Oh,
up
that's
here.
awesome. We
And-
should. I'll get the phone. Can we put it on the?
Yeah, or when I edit it, I'll.
Yeah, we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put that on the screen for you.
So he's like, go through these pictures and identify what's yours. So I'm going through and I'm like, that's mine. Those video games are mine. This is mine. It's just like an old Buick LeSabre filled with junk, like literally like food on the floor.
Like they traded this for.
It's just full of junk. And I'm like, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. He's like, all right, well, I'll search more for the house that that the car is registered to.
Yeah.
Is already in place. Tonight we're going to go hit this house. Like, we're going to see if we can get some of your stuff back. And he said when we pulled up, the car was completely empty. He said they went into the house. The house, all the drywall was tore off. They took all of the copper out of the walls, sold all the copper. And he said, not only did we find your acoustic guitar, but we found your MacBook laying in there. And he said that not only your house, but there was like 8 or 9
Other houses.
houses that they just stored all this shit in.
And they
And
stored
I-
it at like a vacant house or whatever.
Well, they like
They
these
live
heroin
there?
heads were
Live
living
there.
in there, but yeah, and I seen the address, so I know exactly which house it is. I can point it out if we go past it, but I
It's
don't
close.
want to say.
Is it
On what
close?
road?
Yeah, it's on Johnson Street.
Oh my gosh, that would piss me off a lot more too, because you know who would actually be
Right
really
here.
really cool to have on here? Jesse. He's a
Yeah.
detective. That'd be sweet.
Can
to-
you guys see this? Yeah, like this is the car. So that video game is mine. That black bag is mine.
What's that?
That's a black Nike.
Just a duffel
Duffel
bag.
bag. None of that's mine. Like the trunk's just full of shit. Like. Yeah, he sent me the car with
license plate.
That's one of the emails, and then
That's awesome.
I don't know if I can. There's another one.
I think that's cool that you still have all the.
Yeah, those are
Those
mine.
are all yours.
That's mine. Those are all mine. Like
That's your Karuba
That's my
coffee.
coffee, damn it.
that's mine.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's not mine. I don't know what that is.
And then they find a ton of other stuff. That would be. Well, I mean, they hit the money on that one, I guess.
Yeah.
In a way, dude, like their mistakes on yours led to the case of 8 or 9 other
Yeah.
break-ins. So that's a good. And I'm sure then they got enough to charge them for keep them away for a little bit. That would piss me off so much.
Yeah, when it happened, if they would have been in here, I would have went fist to cuff with them.
Yeah.
And I probably would have got my ass kicked, but I was fucking pissed. But then you never know, like, when adrenaline's pumping,
yeah.
what you're
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I probably would have like went for his knees or something, like blew his ACLs out, or just like he flicked me in the forehead and I just got knocked out.
Can I have my gun back so I can point it at you?
What was crazy was like
Imagine that, staring down the barrel of your own gun.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
they took like the footprints and they're like, well, if he has this size shoe and there's 2 of them, so they know his stride, and so they're like, he's within this height, this build.
That is kind of cool.
That if he's fat, he doesn't have that
longer
stride. So he's this height, this weight, like just off of a footprint, 2 footprints.
Yeah, dude.
That
Now
was wild. too.
I should talk to Jesse and see if he'd be interested in doing that. Because like if we could pull up different cases that are already closed or whatever, and
Yeah.
talk about how you from what it started with, like something like that, like the footprint thing, to then this and this, and like all led to 2 years later we busted him for doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
That's
because I
pretty
was
cool.
like, why don't you guys just bust this dude and get him out of the neighborhood? I was like, I know all our neighbors that I talk to are sick of this house.
Yeah.
Like, he's a problem in the neighborhood. And like,
Do they let it drag out so
they
that
let it drag out because he said,
they
well,
can
I don't know
build
if I
a-
want to say what he said on here, but like they watched that house for like months. We're like, I got up in like the middle of the night and there'd be cops sitting out in front of my house because the house is right behind me.
Yeah.
So like they'd be watching for like foot traffic in and out at night, or like
And people never saw that?
apparently not.
That's insane.
Yeah, that was. I'm like, what did I buy into? Like, it's 2 months. I like.
Yeah,
This
that's what sucks is like you had like on the last podcast you said like when you walked in you're like touching like stuff
Yeah.
like, oh, this is mine.
This is mine, like that
I
proud
I
moment.
did this, and then
I dreamed this into
within
reality.
2 months of like your security and all that, it's just gone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that
the
would
hard. That was
suck.
the biggest part, is that your like sense of like security is broken,
Yeah.
and I don't. It still doesn't like come back.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and it's been 2 years, and it's still like.
well, now, yeah, like you
different.
said, like just hearing the doors closed and stuff.
Yeah.
in the next door, you're worried about it. That's
But
so
it-
shitty, Ian.
Like, this isn't like a bad part of town, actually. It's like all older people or like younger couples.
Yeah, well,
and
yeah, the
starter
older
homes.
people are coming out, and then you're kind of having that transition, and it is close to like the schools and stuff.
And just how you get like one rotten egg can just like destroy your neighborhood.
Well, yeah, 8 or 9 houses
Yeah.
that they know of.
Yeah, that was a pretty wild time. It was eventful. It was an eventful winter.
but you already
all the
had-
way,
you
all
already-
the way through that summer. They were there.
You already had the stress of like the new home ownership and all that too,
Yeah.
and then this, and then all your stuff is gone. You know, to come home and just like want to watch TV or just play.
Then I
your
got to live here.
Xbox.
Well, that was the hardest part. Is like now I got to be here by myself. Luckily, I got a good friend like Brandon that was like, he's
Yeah,
like,
didn't he
dude,
s-
I'll come stay, and he stayed with me at night for like 2 weeks.
Really?
Till I was like at least comfortable. Like,
Didn't he give you one of his guns?
yeah, he gave me his pistol until I got that shotgun.
That's pretty cool.
He's like, yeah, just keep it like in your room. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
so luckily I had like,
Good
Somebody that
support
could,
around
like-
you.
yeah. Cause like obviously like, some people can't do that like work wise. Luckily he was working at Merc Racing, so he's like, it's closer for me anyways.
Yeah.
Like I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't like who cares? You got to sleep on the couch or whatever. like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, it's just a short-term thing to help out your friend too. I think we got a good group of guys, so that, like, yeah, everybody's looking out.
I was just
for one
thinking
another.
last night, the group we had last night, if anyone got into anything, it'd be
Yeah,
a
it's
pretty tough group.
Well,
to
we were
mess.
watching Austin for a while because he wanted that chair back right at the end.
He
Right
what?
at the
See
end of
that?
the night, this dude took his chair and then
Bar stool, and Austin wanted it back.
yeah, he's
And
like, "Hey man, you took my chair," and the guy's like, "I'll get up." He's like, "Yeah, you can get up. Like, I'll just take my chair back." And he's like, that guy's like didn't think he was gonna say like, "Yeah, get up. You took my chair." So then like he like kind of turned around and Austin's like, "Hey man, like, yeah, I was sitting there."
What?
And it went on for a couple minutes, and then I like went to Jay. I'm like, this might get a little
yeah,
intense.
because we were watching. Because like, I don't know,
He was he was blacked out, but he was adamant that was his chair.
and you're gonna get the
You're
fuck
gonna
out
get
of
out of my chair. And the dude didn't like.
What
The
did this
dude
dude
wouldn't
look
get
like?
out.
What this
I
dude
don't
look
know,
like? Was he
heavier
big?
Mexican looking dude.
Yeah,
How old?
I think they're like a bunch of 21-year-olds that I heard one of them it was
Oh, I
like
think I
his
saw
birthday or
that,
whatever.
dude, yeah.
Yeah. It was like I don't know, Austin got sidetracked with 11 or something, and then he like
Well, then he's like, I'll buy you a shot if you get up. And then
Yeah,
we're
then
like,
it-
all right, it's just going this way. But
yeah.
like, we're like, at first he's like, yeah, how about you get the fuck out of my chair?
Oh
and we're like,
my
if this dude takes it the wrong way, we might have to like.
Yeah, because
And
then
I'm not-
Levin was mad because
Yeah.
somebody was like, something about,
The one dude was saying how the Vikings are a good. He's a Vikings fan.
yeah, and you know,
the-
Levin, when it comes to
Yeah.
his freaking,
Yeah.
And the other
Sports.
dude was like giving him shit like the Vikings are terrible, and then these two dudes start like barking at each other, and Levin's all of a sudden pissed because the guy's a Vikings fan.
yeah.
And we're like, you want to throw hands with this dude because he's a Vikings fan? Like just drunk idiots.
Sit down and look at the wagon.
Wagon. It's a wagon.
Wagon.
I was like, Darius Rucker.
Rock me, mama.
Wagon wheel.
Yeah, he got low key a little sauced up. Dude, we were playing towers, and every time it got around to his thing, he's like, "What number are we looking for?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I did the same thing after
2.
a while. I could not
And then
remember.
he's next round. What are we going for? I'm like,
He'd sit there and
2.
roll. He'd sit there and roll it, throw it up in the air, bounce off.
Jason,
Stop
he's like-
throwing it so high. He's like, oh, okay, and throws it up again. I'm like,
Jason's like, yeah, you just got a goose backspin on her.
Dude,
There's
I
like,
had it like 10 times in a row before I told Zach, where I'm like flipping it, putting backspin on it every time. 2 bounces, and then it would roll back to me. And I'm like, dude, look at this. Like, every time I just put backspin on it. Throw it up in the air, right off the bar. First time.
went under the freezer.
Zach's just like, yeah, man, I don't think that plan is working for you. And I'm like, you didn't just see I did it like 10 or 15 times in a row, and then the one time I tell you, I flip it off the bar. Got a good slug of tequila for free, though.
yeah, that's one benefit of it's like some people hate it, but like once you're already going like a
That-
little tuned up,
Yeah.
it's kind of fun.
That gin was horrible. That gin was so bad. That Guinness tasted pretty good.
Yeah, you slammed
You
that
got
pretty
that.
fast.
She's like went to pick a beer, and I'm like, Guinness. Yeah,
Literally never had it before.
it's not bad beer
No.
to like.
No, I like
just
Guinness.
drink, but like to chug it,
It's thick.
I'd rather not chug it.
Thick.
Just love that. Just a lot of thick. Anyways, GameStop, AMC, Wall Street Bets.
Going into this?
Yeah, I kind of want to a little bit. If you guys don't know the hot news, I put a post out or whatever on Instagram. I didn't really say too much about it, but Wall Street Bets is a Reddit forum, correct?
Yep.
Bunch of younger guys for the most part. They noticed that a couple stocks were shorted pretty heavily by a bunch of hedge funds. I don't have the exact names pulled up, but I could, I guess, if we get going here, I'll maybe pull up an article and read some bits of it. Anyways, these hedge funds had shorted stocks such as GameStop and AMC, which is like the movie theaters. And all these guys on Reddit got together and they started buying GameStop because it was over 100% shorted. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that's legal, that you can short more than 100% of the stock. If you guys do, we'll feel free to share that. Anybody understand?
Yeah, I
that?
don't really understand
I think
how that
it's
happens.
I think it's short positions, and then if you have puts on top of that, you have
So as long as there's
contracts-
more,
yeah.
you have contracts.
so
that
there
are-
was more than double
Yeah.
the shorts.
So
and puts.
after the shares themselves, there's also the contracts that are worth
Okay.
100 shares each in a contract.
Okay.
So I think I
So
basically I think that's how it
Anyways, so if like shorting the stock, you're betting against the stock, saying it's going to go down. So all these hedge funds had billions of dollars into short positions, and then all the guys on Reddit got together and noticed this and said, "Let's start buying GameStop."
And they banded together.
So they all
to do
got
it.
together and just started putting thousands, millions of dollars into probably upwards to the hundreds of millions, I would think, by the end of the Reddit forums. So GameStop went from like a $8 a share stock to over 400, and it was either mid 30s or mid 70s to its highest, Well, what happened was all of these hedge funds had to buy out of their shorts so they wouldn't get completely screwed over. Well, the stock just kept climbing up. What happened was the brokerages like Robinhood and TD Ameritrade, like Charles Schwab, which is TD Ameritrade, they stopped trading. You could only close your position. You could no longer buy. Yeah, you could not buy the stocks anymore. So the big problem with, like, they let these hedge funds get ahead of the game so the price wouldn't keep going up. They froze everyone's accounts for trading so that they could buy themselves out at a lower position. And people are pissed because you're manipulating the market by you're changing the rules. The people with the money are saying there's no more free trading. This is over. We have to let these people buy themselves out. I think, and then there's a lot of people that profited from this. So Janet Yellen is the Treasury Secretary for Biden. She used to be in charge of the Federal Reserve under Obama, and then a little bit of Trump, and then Trump got rid of her. But she ended up had a speaking arrangement for one of these hedge funds that ended up bailing out the hedge fund that got screwed over billions from this. She got paid over $800 million just for speaking. So people think that she went into, like, had the higher up and went to, like, Robinhood and, like, TD Ameritrade, like, talked to people and said, shut it down so that these people can buy themselves out. So the hedge funds could cut their losses. Everyday traders are extremely pissed about this. What are your guys' thoughts?
Go ahead.
So I've been looking at, I'm still kind of flipped because both parties are wrong. Because I think that if you band together, that's like they did on Reddit to attack the short positions, that's manipulating the market.
Can you Google like what? So I know manipulating is the word manipulating. The definition of that is obviously going to be different, and I would believe compared to like the financial term of manipulating the market. Because what do you have?
Investopedia. I think that's a pretty reliable.
Yeah, that definitely reliable.
What is market manipulation? Market manipulation is the act of artificially inflating or deflating the price of a security or otherwise influencing the behavior of the market for personal gain. Manipulation is illegal in most cases, but it can be difficult for regulators and other authorities to detect. Manipulation is also difficult for the manipulator as the size and number of participants in the market increases. It is much easier to manipulate penny stocks.
Because of volume and price. You don't need as much capital to change it.
If you're banding together on Reddit to attack these stocks, it's manipulating the market.
But what is the difference between 10 hedge funds coming together and saying
there is none? That's what I'm saying.
So that's why people. That's also that's also to the viewers or whatever. That's also why these traders are pissed because now these not only did they stop free trade, but now they're trying to come after these people saying like they want lawsuits against them because, like Jason said, they're manipulating it. But so Robinhood has lawsuits against them because they're known to sell the traders' data to these hedge funds. Well, then these hedge funds band together and they buy certain stocks at lower prices before they go up because Robinhood is saying, look, we have X amount of money going into this stock and the volume keeps increasing. Like, I think we're going to sell this data. Like, I think you should buy into this. Well, then all the hedge funds get together. That creates another huge increase in volume. These people are also doing the same thing. Or then the price gets real high and then they sell it, or vice versa. They start shorting it.
So I don't think either party, they're both wrong, but it's going to come out to what the national, what is it, the National Security Exchange Commission
Yeah.
SEC.
is open an investigation to it. So both parties are wrong, because I could see where Robinhood and Ameritrade are looking at what's going on, and they're gonna say, look, they're manipulating the market. We need to protect our clients as a brokerage, so we can cover our asses in court. We need to do something that they're not going to look at us and be like, "You've seen that this was being manipulated,
But
nothing was done about it." But they can't stop trading. They should have had where if you wanted to buy into it, big alert comes up that this has been known that this is
like
manipulation.
There's
Robinhood
excessive.
already does that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that is my problem. Like for them to say, "Oh, we're looking out for our clients," like they're just the brokerage. It says in their terms and conditions when you're gonna if I'm gonna purchase a stock, like they're not reliable for what happens with that. So
Right,
for them
but-
to come in and just shut it down.
But you know that they know that the stock is being manipulated.
My biggest thing. One second. My biggest thing is like the winners and losers that come out of this. They're gonna look at the hedge funds like, well, they're the ones with the money. They're the ones that run all this stuff. They're gonna have the lawyers who say, nope, these traders, everyday traders, were wrong, and then they're gonna change the game. They're gonna change the game where like now companies can come in and just stop if there's a excessive amount of trading.
The word that jumps out at me with that definition is artificial.
Yeah.
It says artificially. What does it say? Artificially changing the price.
Let me go back.
Yeah, well, yeah, it doesn't
I
say.
clicked off it. I'll go back.
Yeah, look up. What is that? What is that supposed to mean?
Okay, so it says artificially. So I see it as I was saying last night, and it's proven that some of these hedge funds, they will literally manipulate a price by buying and selling back to each other. They agree on a set amount of money they're going to spend. They buy and sell back to each other over and over throughout the day.
So the volume goes way up.
They'll sell to each other. So say a stock's $3. I will sell this 10,000 shares to you for $3. You buy those 10,000 shares for $2.99, and then we'll buy it for $2.98. And you keep buying back and forth. As long as you agree on a price, you can get your shares, and that is manipulating the price down. Where how you can't say this is artificial, what happened, to GameStop and AMC. That's all natural price movement based off of legal buys. Just the fact that people agreed to buy it is not artificially changing the price. It's natural price movement based off of your volume and your capital that's going into
So
it. That's not
like,
artificial.
because people want like buys. If you guys don't know I guess we don't we're kind of jumping in straight into this, but like when there's a lot of volume, so volume would be like I buy 10 shares, Jason buys 100, Josh buys 100,000, like you add all that together, that's your volume. Like if all of a sudden that was your everyday trade where it's 100,000 shares are traded that day, but all of a sudden there's 1 million shares and it went from 100,000 to 1 million, the volume spike would increase a lot. So that means that it's either under buying or selling. So what happened in this situation, there was tons of buyers. The people on Reddit were buying it up. So the price starts going up because now it's supply and demand. There's less shares, the stock gets worth that much more. People want to. It's like if you only have 10 golf balls at the golf course, and then all of a sudden like there's only 2 left, and you bought all of them at $2. Well, then me and you were fighting over the last 2 golf balls. Who's going to pay more for the last 2 golf balls? Or it's the same way with the stock.
But then like Jordan Belfort was on like CNN and a bunch of other.
I guess I should say there's
Newsweek or whatever.
only so many shares that can be traded.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so much supply, and then when the demand's high or low, that's when the price will change.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really finish that out. But yeah, go ahead.
So he was saying like these guys on Reddit are wrong if it's proven that it's collusion. And if it's collusion, the only way it would be collusion is if they manipulated the market, because they did collude.
So
if collusion.
So now you have to look at.
If I say, hey Matt, let's buy into this stock. We need to go X, Y, and Z. We need to buy into the stock. That's collusion. and technically it's illegal.
Collusion
but
is
we're not.
deceitful. There's no deceit in agreeing
doesn't
on
have
buying
to
on
be
a-
deceitful.
It does. Jordan Belfort's original pump and dump scheme.
That's
He
deceitful.
called people that had no idea what these businesses were, what these stocks were. He convinced them that they should give him his money or give him their money to put into the stock. It's going to go up, and he knew it was because he's taken everybody's money,
And doing
pumping
the
it
same
into the
thing.
stock. You are deceitfully telling people to buy something because you know you're going to sell it under their
Cash
feet
out.
and they're going to lose money. You know you're going to gain that money. That's deceitful. You're not
It does-
deceitful in making
This in Investopedia says nothing about deceitful.
on collusion.
Mm-hmm.
It
It says
doesn't-
collusion is the act. The act of collusion involves people or companies which would typically compete against one another, but who conspire to work together to gain an unfair market advantage. Key takeaway:
How is that unfair?
collusion occurs when entities or individuals work together to influence the market or pricing for their own advantage.
So yeah.
So that's exactly what they did. And the only reason, so like if me and you collude to go buy a stock, it's illegal. But
But what-
it
so-
doesn't go we don't get in trouble for it because we didn't manipulate the market. By our power together isn't enough to manipulate that.
to make a dramatic
Okay, so now say
change.
you guys.
So now there's a line of far,
You guys
as far
had
as
the
where
capital. You guys had the capital of these hedge funds. Now you two agree. Now that's manipulating because you have enough money to actually manipulate the actual.
Well,
two,
That's
in,
happening
two
with
individual
Muffin right now.
two individuals like us probably would get caught and yelled at, like punished for it, right?
I don't
but
think you would.
I think we would. I think it's because hedge funds, like they run the game, just like the stopping of these trades. Like they're the ones in control.
That's what they're proven to do this. That's
Yeah,
why,
and
that's why I don't see
But
how they
look
could
at
possibly.
Yellen, 800 million for talking. No, she's out.
Yeah.
She's a huge leader in all of this. They just pay her off,
You can literally look
and they
at
just let
you
all
can
these people.
you can look at level 2 market data and see firms that buy and sell big blocks
Back and forth.
of shares, and they will like this fund will sell, and this fund buys that exact amount at that exact time. Then this fund buys that exact amount back as that fund sells. You can see them literally exchanging shares back and forth, selling at lower and lower prices,
Yeah,
or
I'm-
buying at higher and higher
I
prices.
just believe that they won't get. They're not going to get the slap on the. Well, they'll get a slap on the wrist maybe if like because of this whole thing, like that, if that becomes like the storyline behind it, like they kind of transition into that. But I think that every day, like they're paying people off, like they run all of it. So
I think they're the true market makers. Like you guys,
Yeah.
know, you guys know how market makers work.
well, they are.
Market makers, like the literally automatic. It's literally just an algorithmic bot system that owns a certain amount of shares.
Oh, then
It's literally sitting in purgatory, and as soon as like a certain stock sits for a while, everyone's holding their positions, nothing's literally happening.
they move it.
A market maker has an amount of shares they will sell, literally just because they see how many people are.
I
holding.
thought you meant as far as like. Well, I guess it is the same thing, but you just put a word to it, like they have all the volume to trade
Right.
everything.
So
they
market makers are on every single stock. Market makers own shares, and they will buy or sell based on how many people are holding. They look at the movement of that stock. They don't want a stock to stay stagnant forever. So if everyone's holding a stock, the market maker, literally this computer system, will sell a set of shares enough to make the price move.
So then
Will
other
either
people
scare
sell,
people into selling.
and then they can
or-
buy back at lower positions.
Exactly, and that's what I think. Like, I try to say that these market makers are what makes a bunch of these movements and stuff because it's all based on opposing volume and everything
Yeah.
else. But I think these hedge
Dude,
funds
that is one
are
problem with technology. I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like you said before, we've never had social media for trading like this.
at this level, no.
And we've never had technology like this that you can just create all these algorithms, put them in a computer, and can move massive amounts of money at one time.
And that's what I was saying yesterday. Say they do prove that these guys were colluding and everything like that. What is stopping someone from creating a private social platform, like a private Reddit forum? You need an invitation. These private, large amounts of people agreeing. Say they have firewalls. They're coming together, agreeing on buying these shares.
Like Anonymous
What-
creates a
How can you decipher people doing that
in hedge
from
funds.
people noticing a volume increase? I'm going to buy into this. Just literally
Yeah.
off of your own technical analysis, buying into it. Why can't they say you were colluding?
Well,
No,
yeah,
I wasn't
that's
talking to anyone. I literally wasn't talking to anyone. You couldn't prove it whether you were or not.
Okay, so like now you look at like leading hedge funds. Do you think because they have the most capital, they can talk to other hedge funds and say, look, we'll start manipulating it back and forth or whatever. But then the big hedge funds will say, we're going to take 10x, but you get 1x of it. Like, we're all going to profit from this,
right,
but you're going to help us so we can drive this price down and then get back into it or short it out. And then they make their big amounts, but then so does the little guys too. I think it all, like, so like Hunter Biden, the whole like scandal thing with like China and all that, he created his own firm or whatever. He has no history of any financial backing or anything like that. Like he wasn't a Wall Street trader or worked for this hedge fund, and now he created his own financial firm or whatever. And then some of his biggest deals are from the Chinese government. That'd be like, that's just one like I guess that's an example of just taking a firm and creating it like we could do, like, or like Reddit users could do, and then they get all that capital from people, and then they could go and move the market or whatever. I don't know what he's doing with that money, or if it's going into the market, or I mean that's a whole nother subject. But I guess like my point is, like, he has no financial backing, but yet he can create a financial hedge, right, and then go out and why like you said, should there become a platform like Reddit where people go start doing that now? Because maybe that's the next step from this. So then it's legal. Right. Is it like legal then because they're a hedge fund?
Belfort talked about that. He's like, when I was doing what I was doing, I'd start getting cracked down on. They'd change the rules, and then I'd just find another way around it. He said, whatever comes of this,
I think that's what we're going to start seeing.
They're just going to do something different,
yeah,
to work around.
They're going to see what happens with this lawsuit, and then maybe they do have to start their own fund. And now they have all that money to maybe pull together, yeah, and start something like that.
What I'm afraid of, if they're going to try to punish these retail traders and punish them for doing this, colluding, whatever if they confirm it was collusion, if they punish these retailers and no one sees them doing something about these hedge funds, the people will not stand for that.
I don't think that there's going to be lost. I think the only people that would get in trouble would be the Robinhoods and Ameritrades.
Dude, I haven't seen any lawsuits towards Ameritrade yet. What?
Well, apparently they did the same.
They did the same thing. I tried to trade, dude, and they wouldn't.
They restricted buying.
I bought into AMC to try to ride that way for a day, and I wanted to put a stop. After I bought in, I wanted to set a stop loss, obviously for a day trade, and Ameritrade froze up, and I had to.
Yeah,
you couldn't even set a closing position.
No,
it wouldn't let me even buy.
It wouldn't even open my app. It would just say, due to large amounts of volumes.
Because it was like 129 or something at one point.
So even if because I wanted to buy more Enthusiast Gaming that day too, and I couldn't even open my app to.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even open.
No, mine opened, but every time I tried to put a trade through, it wouldn't. So then I actually bought it. I bought more of Enthusiast, went right through. So I'm like, and I didn't know anything about this until the next day it came out that they were stopping it. And I'm like, motherfucker! Like
the volume was insane. Like literally that one day, AMC, Nokia, and GameStop all had over 1 billion volume. Yeah. Average volume is 70 million.
Dude,
that's just crazy.
I love it.
1 billion shares bought and sold that day.
But
just think of that number: 1 billion shares at $150 were bought and sold that day. How much money exchanged hands that day? 1 billion times 150.
They said like the guy that started it was just pulling in millions, like every.
But a lot of these funds do jack your volume on a stock so that when they want to put in like 10 million, that they're not manipulating the market. So they will like buy and sell to each other. So it just slowly climbs. They do that to fucking Enthusiast Gaming.
You're saying smaller numbers, so it doesn't just shoot up and all of a sudden it went
like there's a fund that wants to put.
Yeah, you're right.
There's like a fund that wants to put like 10 million into Enthusiast Gaming. And I was talking to Kurt, and he's like, "Well, basically, they want to see more volume in the stock because if you just dump 10 million at Muffin right now, it'll jack the price up, which would probably be, I can see now, considered manipulation.
Yeah.
So they're gonna want to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, jack that volume up daily so that they can still get their 10 million in.
One of the
but
books
they don't get caught for the manipulation.
One of the books I read it for like investing or whatever, it says that most of the stocks that like take off have to have at least like 250 million for the volume, because then it's a recognizable stock.
Depending on your float. If it has a high float, like when the people were trying to do this with Nokia, what they didn't understand, they're trying to make it the next GameStop. They're like, let's do the same thing GameStop. So Nokia's only $4. Look at the market cap. The market cap is also over, it was like a few billion compared to GameStop's 100 million market cap before this all started. The float, which is your available shares to trade, 50 times as many available shares in Nokia. So you'll need 50 times the people to have that same movement.
Or the money or whatever
the
move it.
The people didn't understand it. Like, this is going to go to $20 by next week. It has to, the market cap of the stock is already over $7 billion at $4 a share with the amount of shares it's at. If you want it to get to $20, that means your market cap will then be 5 times what it is now. That means this Nokia's company will be worth $35 billion.
Yeah.
Just the amount of money you need to do that is.
So
GameStop's market cap is $22.668 billion.
What is that?
That's what it got.
GameStop's market cap.
What was it before this started?
I don't know. It's $22.668 billion. AMC's is $4.496 billion.
What's Nokia?
What's their ticker?
NOK.
NOK. Nokia is $26.986 billion.
And that's what
they're still at $4.68.
Yeah.
$4.56 as of right now.
And
that makes sense.
And they're at the same market caps.
Yeah.
That's and you're
Where do
literally
you
trying
see
to
your
multiply
float
that.
on here?
There's
I can get it on my app, but not on the website.
Dude, I hate it. What are you on?
Yahoo.
Yeah, there's maybe if you go to the financials it'll come up, but sometimes they don't have shit on there either.
Yeah.
And if you also look at the short percentage of Nokia, it's 1%.
Oh,
1% shorted. It's a good company. It's a reputable company. They're coming out with contracts for 5G right now.
Do they show that on
your short percentage?
Where is that?
I look at Yahoo Finance.
Yeah, no, but where is it on here?
Scroll. This page looks so different.
Yeah, use it on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you go to financials on your phone, it'll be all in a list.
Type into Google short percentage.
Financials.
Want some water, Jay?
Yeah, I'll take another glass. Maybe it's in financials.
Dude, it's already 2:07.
You gonna come try VR, Matt?
Income statement, no. Balance sheet, no. Cash flow, no. It's not in any of these. Because I know on my phone I can get it too.
Look at the statistics. Should be on there.
Market cap, trailing PE. Here it is. Float, 4.76 billion. Shares outstanding, 5.52 billion. 5.62 billion. So what is your float?
Your float is your available shares.
But it says shares outstanding.
I think it's your float is your outstanding shares minus shares that are already in position.
Shares shorted as of January 15th, 59.55 billion. So they have more shares shorted than outstanding by like 10 times
And that was when?
right now.
No. When as of? That was today?
As of today.
Jesus.
As of close on Friday, probably, actually. The term float refers to the regular shares of a company that is issued to the public that are available for investors to trade. So, but then why does it give you
Outstanding is their total shares. So you know how some companies will give their employees amounts of shares.
Yeah.
The company themselves will own their set amount of shares.
Yeah.
Those are outstanding because
So your
no one's
float
trading
is
those.
is how much is available.
Like
to the
today,
public.
if you had an unlimited amount of money,
Okay.
you could buy that number of shares. No more. You literally couldn't buy a
Yeah.
single share more. There isn't one.
Supply and demand.
That's why day traders look for stocks with low float, because if you have a small amount that's able to be traded, just that small amount's all it
Yeah,
takes
you
to
can
move
jack
that price. Right.
Yeah. You want that volatility in a day trade. So then, what is your market cap?
That's how much your company is worth based on. That's your outstanding shares multiplied by your price per share. That's how much your company is worth, basically. So like
Or what we say it's worth.
So literally GameStop is
Market cap refers to the total value of all a company's shares of a stock. It is calculated by multiplying the price of a stock by the total number of outstanding shares. So a company with 20 million shares selling at $50 a share would have a market cap of $1 billion. Yeah.
So literally GameStop's company is worth that much more.
Yeah, because they were saying, like, Belfort was saying how, like,
What are they?
if GameStop was smart, they could literally just wipe out all of their
Yep.
debt. They could be debt-free because of
Yep.
this. If they play their cards right. Just because of what happened. Like, that could literally... And GameStop...
And they are trying to reformat because their online sales like skyrocketed over COVID and stuff.
They should be buying
So,
shares back
back.
at this point.
Yeah.
Muffin just did that. Well, not really, but they did it with another company.
How long?
yeah,
How long have we been ripping on this thing?
Hour 40.
Hell yeah,
Where's
dude.
the
This is a
picture
solid
section?
one so far. Yeah, I got probably like 20 more minutes, which is we can still do a decent amount.
What do you do?
I gotta go to that Christmas party. I gotta figure out where it is.
Christmas isn't for like another 330 days.
You're telling me.
I guess you already put your tree up.
So why exactly...
Haven't taken it down. No, it's down. We took it down.
Why exactly were they shorting GameStop so heavily?
Because GameStop is...
Well, I know it
Well,
was way
think about it.
overpriced.
So like small retail stores, well then everything's going online. If you look at get like an Xbox or whatever, you download the games right off of the
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
platform.
it's
people-
public knowledge how much percentage-wise is being shorted right now. So why would these hedge funds all band together and just...
Well, I think it was only like one major hedge fund that did it.
I think it was a few of them.
But if it's
Are you
so
asking
heavily...
why they're
if
in
it's
those
so,
short percentage?
If it's so heavily shorted, why would you just... I guess...
What is their
Because
benefit
you're
of
expecting
shorting
it.
No,
You're
no,
expecting it to go bankrupt.
I understand that, but like if it's so heavily shorted already, now if you're adding more shorts...
They dicked up. They over leveraged it.
Yeah, you're over leveraging.
They
the
just
shorts,
made
is what I'm saying.
they made the mistake, and that's what so these people weren't trying to get rich. Like their big thing was like they interviewed a bunch of
squeezing
them.
shorts is pretty common.
But the major reason that these Reddit people said they did this was to stick it to these people to say, look, you fucked up, and we just capitalized off of it. Like their interviews with the people that on Reddit, like that's their big thing. It's not like, oh, we got rich, like I did it for the money. No, that's why they're just holding it. They don't care to sell it. They're just like, look, F you. And that's why they're so pissed that they shut down the trade so that the hedge funds could buy out their short positions.
But when you short a stock, it's timed, isn't it? Like you have to buy
yeah,
back in
they're
a
like
certain
the
amount of
options or
time.
whatever. Yeah,
That's
but,
what
but
it
you
is.
have,
So like that's why they're holding it.
and
is
that's
so
why
that-
they wanted to jack the shit out of it, because if they kept holding it, the price would just keep going higher and higher and
It was
higher.
supposed to be today, or yesterday. The short positions were supposed to expire, and that's why they started that this week. And
But
last week.
they saw that like the increase in volume or whatever, so they just stopped it so
Yeah.
that people could get out because they knew it. Think about it. As
So
soon as
they-
it made news, like how many other people
started buying.
were gonna just keep on
trying
buying
to
it?
ride that.
Yeah,
wave.
and it would have kept going up. It absolutely would have, and that's why it pisses me off that
Yeah,
that these companies
I'm just
manipulate
trying
it
to
by
be so that
stopping the
everybody,
free trade.
everybody's kind of clear like what was happening. So they're so over top heavy on shorts, and they have to cover by Friday.
I'm gonna play
this past Friday. So what they did was,
I'm playing this next. I just saw it on.
Yeah. So what they did was they're gonna jack the price.
It's
literally
10 minutes long,
so that
though.
they
You guys all right with that?
Yeah. So they're gonna jack the price and literally hold it past Friday so that they can be like, yeah, up yours.
Yeah.
To these hedge funds.
Instead of covering at every position.
So then what these
They didn't-
and these hedge funds knew it. So what they did was probably paid off Robinhood, Ameritrade.
Oh yeah,
Be like,
yelling.
yeah,
To say put a stop to this.
we're stopping it.
During
And
that-
that's when it dipped Thursday or whatever.
What's
is when
damn near
nobody
$1 million to these hedge funds when they're losing billions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were literally.
And then they got bailed out by other ones.
So neither party is technically correct in what they
But
did.
one has the power to actually.
I gotta.
like,
This is a Stool Presidente. The media
Portnoy?
assault. Yep, the media assault on Robinhood app. We're gonna play that through here. Hopefully, tell me if it's.
On the show, and here he is.
that good?
Dave, you call Robinhood the biggest fraud of them all. Put them in prison, you're saying. Okay, make your case. Go ahead.
Well, they intentionally cratered a bunch of stocks, a lot of the ones you just mentioned, the short seas stocks, by not letting people buy it, only selling it. There was only one outcome, crater the stock. They basically stole money from their own clients. They knew that was going to happen to help the hedge funds basically cover. Is there proof of that? If they do the investigation right, I'm sure there will be. But, it's one thing to say we're worried and you freeze the market and you can't buy or sell, and if people want to liquidate at what it is, fine. But to intentionally crater the stock at the expense of all of your customers, well, that's criminal in my mind. That's flat out criminal.
Okay, let me put the other side of the argument, because there is another side to this, I think. If Robinhood had not restricted trading, they didn't have enough money for the clearinghouses to complete the trades. If you fail on a trade, you've got a cascade of failures all the way down the line, and that is a financial crisis. I put it to you that Robinhood had to do what it did when it did it, and by doing it, they were in fact representing their own best interest and to some degree the best interests of their own investors.
So Vlad, who went on CNBC yesterday and was point blank asked, is there a liquidity issue, said no.
At the time of the putting the restrictions on, right?
They asked, did you do this? Did you put the restrictions and change the rules because Robinhood had a liquidity issue? He said flatly no. So you're suggesting is something that he says was not the case.
Okay, he says what you're saying, Vlad says what you're saying is just a conspiracy theory.
Well, I mean, how many criminals and crooks have raised their hand and been like, oh yeah, we just committed a crime or did something? I think in the history of crimes, none until they get caught. So then what is it? His answer is basically he was protecting his own clients, but not because of the liquidity issue. He didn't want them to get hurt. That's essentially what he's saying, and that's full of crap.
Okay, let's move on. Tell me more about your feud with Mets owner Steve Cohen.
Yeah, he was one of the.
Well, I mean, again, if you look at what happened objectively, Melvin Capital, who was bailed out by Steve Cohen and the Citadel, and they're old buddies, traders, they all work together. Steve Cohen has a history of insider trading, one of the great insider trading scandals in the history of the stock market, right? 2-year suspension. And now suddenly he's right in the middle, his buddies, with what went on yesterday. Again, I don't have the proof. He unequivocally denied that he had any involvement in what happened yesterday. I would wager if you forced it out and you had all the subpoenas, all the phone records, all the conversations, I think you'd find out he was involved. Again, I'm not making giant leaps of logic here. I'm looking at facts that I don't know how anybody rationally looking at them could come up with any other conclusion. Generally, where there's smoke, there's fire, and this was a 5-alarm blaze.
Okay, look, at the moment, the number of people going short on GameStop is actually going up. Short positions are expanding on GameStop. And at the same time, the stock price is going up. That implies we've got another short squeeze coming just around the corner. Is that the way you see it?
I mean, I guess. Listen, if I'd short the stock too, if I knew that if I was wrong, they were just going to press the stop button and give me all my money back. What do you got to lose?
If you want to watch the rest of that, just go on Instagram. You can go on Barstool's page.
Yeah, he kind of hit the nail on the head though.
Yeah, dude, he has a couple other ones on there that I saw too. It's like basically everything we said, but just in one solid boom, boom, boom. Like, I'm glad that somebody like him is reaching out and going on like different news sources and putting it all over social media that this is horse shit.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of respect for Dave.
I like the small business thing that he's doing.
Yeah.
He said I was watching.
He's done more for small businesses than our entire government has through this pandemic.
I think he was on Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
He said that this was the other night that it was at like 33 million and 200 some businesses or something, or 200,000 people have donated or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, 33 million. That's even if it was 200. I mean, a couple hundred businesses or whatever. Yeah, I wonder what is the number for small business. How much did the COVID bill give to small business?
How much money did? What are you looking for? The last stimulus check?
Yeah, how much went to small businesses? Like directly to small businesses.
I know they were giving out 0-interest loans to companies with less than 500 employees.
Yeah, and all them people like were scamming it or whatever. Because you didn't have to show any proof of payroll.
No, it's basically the trust system.
Yeah, that was
It's never gonna work in a capitalist.
That was the dumbest thing. And only a few people got caught. Imagine the hundreds of people that did that.
This is from the
probably thousands.
Is the Welsh.com that a reliable source?
I don't know. What's it say?
It says the new $900 billion coronavirus relief and stimulus package includes an extension of last spring's Paycheck Protection Program. It provides another $284 billion in forgivable federally backed loans for struggling small businesses, which is dumb.
So then the qualifying for the loan, did they change? Do we know if they changed any?
Retarded. Why are you shutting businesses down?
Yeah.
And then just being like, oh, here's more money that we don't have.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what's cool about him, like giving this, like getting this money together and giving it to small businesses or whatever.
How about we just let businesses be businesses, and if you give people the choice if you don't want to be out in coronavirus, stay the fuck home. But if you do and you want to take the risk, that's your choice.
That's why people are pissed, I think, that's one of the main reasons.
Instead, shut everything down, and then here's some money that we don't have.
It's a capitalist country, and for you to not let people have the freedoms of doing things like that, it's not a democracy, and then two, it's not you can't have it be a capitalist country. I think that is the problem, is that this administration wants its citizens and businesses to look to them like they're the mother, like feeding off the tit. If you don't have me, you're not going to survive.
Yep.
And they're doing everything they can to make it that way so that people have to turn to them.
Pelosi said it on CNN.
It was
that dude on CNN was if she didn't pay a homeless guy or something, and he was like trying to pick at her that she didn't give a homeless guy money or something, and then she's like getting all kind of flustered about it, and then she's like, we feed them.
Yeah.
Like they look to us.
Look
we
to
feed
us.
them.
Yeah, we take care of
your
your needs. Like we're your safety, we're your outlet. Yeah, I don't even want to dive into that because that stuff pisses me off so much. I get in so many arguments with people about that, and like you can't. It's stupid of me to argue with some people about it, but like you can't argue with somebody if they came to their conclusion or their senses from something that they didn't even think about in the first place. They just heard it and they're like, "Oh, yep, that's how it is." Like they didn't analyze any of it. They get it from horseshit sources, and then they just assume that that's the way it is. Like these politicians aren't lying to them. That's another thing too. You think that this government's not lying? lying to any of us about any of this? Did you know when Biden got elected, the day he got elected, inaugurated, CNN got rid of its COVID death ticker?
Whoops.
Oh,
Let's
it's
not go into
nope, no such thing as that anymore.
I don't know if this is the right one or not. I won't play it. Yeah, dude. I'd be so pissed if I was them. That pipeline. If I was
Yeah.
those workers and my union endorsed Biden, took my dues dollars, gave it to Biden, and
Dude, our union, that's all they were
fucking
worried about was
campaigned.
Biden.
ours too. He campaigned that he's going to shut down the pipeline, and you're still going to give him money. One day, his first day after inauguration, shut the pipeline down. 11,000 jobs out the
Executive
window.
order. Yeah, we could get into, his executive orders too. Jeez. Frick, get a list of them.
Second thing he did, big pharma, more money, insulin, jack the price. It's like, really? Like,
Oh, yeah, unions too. I could get into that shit too. Like,
oh yeah, I don't know.
I think our freaking government.
I don't want to be going off on that.
Yeah, I know.
just
Rabbit
'cause
hole.
I'm still in the union.
Yeah, me too. But I
think it's organized crime. Myself.
It is. Well, that's exactly how they That's exactly how they became a thing. Forget what that movie's called with Robert De Niro. It's literally about the politics behind unions and then how they take the money and just.
I mean, we do.
It is organized crime.
As a sheet metal worker, working in the union, you make more money than non-union. On the check, you do get better benefits. They do have good health care, like they provide a good health care program for us. But
Yeah.
if you look deep into our benefits, they take our money that is not in the contract. And I confronted our BA about it. So we have like a dollar bank, and it's $1 an hour.
Have you heard this one yet?
It's $1 an hour into a dollar bank, and that dollar bank is paid. Is if you get laid off, you can use that dollar bank money to keep paying for your insurance until you get, till you're back to work. And I forget if it's $1,500 or if it's $2,000 a year, and then you're maxed out for your career until you use it. $1 an hour. I said that in 1 year, that's maxed out. I said, where's all that money going? Well, we do this or that or this. I said, well, where is it in the contract? I read the contract. It's nowhere in the contract that once you're maxed out, this is where that money goes. I said, and so if it's not in the contract, that's my money. That should be just checked to me.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's not in the contract,
It's not part of your dues.
or put it in the contract
that it's part of your dues or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope, and basically I cornered him on it. Like, where's this money going? Well, it's here. No, where is it? Where is it going? It goes to our general fund, he says. And I said, why is that not in the contract then? And he says, well, that's just what it takes to be a strong union. Swear to God, that is what he told me.
Yeah, so they can pay off everybody else.
And I said, I was like heated, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why is that not in the contract? Well, if you want to talk about contract, you can come to the next meeting, and we can discuss it. Really. So why can't we discuss it now? Like,
Because
why
he
can't
has
you explain
no
it?
answer for you.
You have no
got
answer.
backed against a wall.
And it was funny because once I started getting heated, like there's like a group around me, like listening to it. And then once he said that, like half of them just were like shaking their heads and just walked away. And I'm just like, it's a legitimate question. Where's that money going? Why is it? If it was, I told him, I'm like, if it was in the contract that once you're maxed out, we take the money to the general fund, we would not have this conversation.
Yeah, but
If
it's hidden.
Not,
It's
if it's
hidden.
not in the contract, that should be my money. That is my money if it's not in the contract. So if I'm finding that,
I gotta write that down so that way I can look at mine. Because if
Yeah.
I have any questions about that.
so if I'm finding that as an apprentice, and that's plain as day, what else are they?
Yeah, but that's like the thing
Taking.
too. Is like they don't expect us to look into
Yeah.
it because they're like,
Right.
oh, look at your health savings account. Look
Yeah.
at we roll
Mhm.
this into here. Like you get this. Like you're actually making about 52 an hour with your health benefits and
Yeah.
this. It's like, yeah, you take home half of it. Like, but yeah, they like I guarantee there's probably $10 more that's somewhere else
we
hidden
should
in there.
all bring in our unit contracts.
Dude,
one
and we
day,
should
look
go-
'em over,
yeah,
just literally look them over.
I have one here somewhere.
We should do that. That would be awesome. Sit down, go through each one
Yeah.
of them. We could even like compare different things or whatever. See what you get.
You
out
want
of
to talk about getting shadow banned on YouTube and Spotify? Man, there's
Oh
no way
my
we're getting
God.
views.
it. We probably this one's already screwed because
Yeah.
we said a couple words.
You said coronavirus. You said GameStop
Biden.
and Biden
Yeah.
and now Union. Oh my
Wagon.
God. And
Wagon.
Wagon.
Thick
What is a wagon, by
wagons.
the way? No, what I was gonna say.
Follow for follow, bro.
One of my classes, like my first class, my URD class I'm doing, this guy, he's been in the industry literally since he was 16 years old. Well, since he was 18, I suppose. But he was telling us how our specific union, the IBW, Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, how it literally was founded. Like, he showed us the whole history of it. And when electricity first started, like around Edison, Nikola Tesla, those days, all these workers installing this stuff, 10 out of 12 workers died within the first 2 months of working on electricity. And they're like, we should all like pool a bunch of money together because these funerals are getting expensive. Union dues and our specific union were literally to cover your friend's funeral or your own.
Really?
Yeah. So it's because all these families, the wives couldn't afford to have
Yeah.
a funeral.
Because
No one could afford
death
to.
rate was
Yes,
high.
they all pooled their money together. That's your union dues for this union. And then when this guy dies next week, we can pay for his funeral for his wife. It's fucking nuts. 10 out of 12 workers died within the first 2 months when electricity first came out.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, they didn't know.
No, we still
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
We're literally improving off of mistakes.
Like we're still like today, like
Mhm.
major things happen, and you're like, shit. Like
Yeah,
we could
just what I was telling you guys. I think I told you guys. Yeah, the Alliant worker that just died 2 weeks ago. He literally has been in the industries. I think he was 58 or 59, and he's been doing this for however long. Works for Alliant, and I've worked with him personally. He's super safe, knows what he's doing. And literally last Thursday or 2 Thursdays ago, there was an outage at a meat market. A construction company dug through a wire, and caused an outage. So they were called out, and he literally got killed. He got shocked, electrocuted, and the other guy, from the flash of this burn, burnt this guy 3rd degree. He got sent to a burn unit. I think he might be still there. But then we learned in this class, this teacher's telling us about literally like the ins and outs of getting electrocuted, getting burnt from electricity. He's like, oh my God. He's like,
Oh, I heard you say something
Yeah.
about the people that get burned or whatever.
He's-
This was at the table
he's
last
like,
time?
most of the time, the people that don't get electrocuted but just get shocked or just get burnt, they die within weeks coming out of the burn unit because your body cooks from the inside out. From when that happens, it'll cook for the next 2 weeks. Cell by cell, they burn, and then they burn each other. It spreads 10 times faster than cancer. They say literally 9 out of 10.
Pain.
Yeah, that
Dude,
makes sense
the
though. Like if
pain.
your cells start like burning, your other cells would probably
they're
start
charged.
attacking it.
They're
and then
charged,
those cells
yeah.
are charged, so then it's just gonna like
Yeah, it's
literally
it's
keep
literally
cooking.
how
Like
cancer
yeah,
spreads,
like
but
cancer, yeah. Perfect
so much
example.
faster. And they say 9 out of 10 burn victims wish they would have been electrocuted instead.
And just died
Just so they
right
wouldn't
there.
have to go through it. There's a bunch of survivors. We watch their videos and stuff. This one dude's arm is just all mangled and shit just because his cells didn't know how to recreate themselves. They're so fucked up. And your brain works
Yeah.
off of electrical impulses. So when you send 10,000 volts at 4,000 amps through your fucking body, everything's fucked. Your motor skills, these people, their legs were just yellow and black and like
Yeah.
forever. No feeling and
in OSHA 30 they did like an arc flash thing, and watching that shit's crazy.
yeah.
Like literally, like the dude like has like lightning bolts coming out of his hands, it just blows his hands off.
The stuff we're learning is
Arc
insane.
flash.
What is it?
Arc flash. When electricity arcs,
When you have super high voltage,
It
like
connects to something else.
they wear suits so that it doesn't flash to them. Like
Yeah.
so, like if you open a
Insulated
like
panel,
an insulated, yeah.
insulated
if you
glass,
like
yeah.
open a like there's videos of guys like opening a panel and then like it flashes, and the electricity arcs to them to go to the ground
Yeah.
because that's the shortest.
Yeah,
path.
yeah.
And literally, like the one video, the dude had his hand on the panel, opened it up, and then the other one, it like shot like lightning bolts out his hand, just blows his hand off.
Dude, some of this stuff.
And you don't know that's gonna happen.
No. Something.
Why
you,
does
you have literally no
it
idea.
could just be shorting through the board?
He was just explaining to us. So, oh my God, I could literally speak for hours about this. What I've learned, just insane. And I've been doing this, since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff we do on a daily basis, I will never do again. Just didn't realize any second I could have died. Because the way we do things, like backyard transformers, the big green boxes.
We're watching a video right now.
He's closing.
What's he doing?
He's closing a circuit.
Oh, he's turning it?
Yep.
What the hell?
Arc flash.
The second he closed the circuit.
Yep.
He's gone.
Yep.
Oh god, yeah.
Basically incinerated.
Literally, he's like gone.
Vaporized.
Yep.
He actually did, didn't he?
I don't think completely, but
Damn near, dude. He wasn't even there.
yeah.
There's tons of videos online.
Yeah. So we literally had to watch.
What's
all
that
those.
called?
Arc flash.
Arc flash?
Mhm. So
Look that up. Holy hell.
So backyard transformers. You see
Yeah.
my whole subdivision is all
Yep.
underground.
Yeah.
I don't know if is yours underground or you have overhead.
No, I have overhead.
But the transformers, little green boxes, right?
Yeah. That's what I think Brady Beekman, he's like the electrical engineer with those.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. We literally took one apart. We know exactly like how every part works inside, how it works, and
Yeah, if you don't, you'll fucking die.
yeah. And this whole time, none of us at our company have known literally the like internal properties of these or how this electricity is actually moving and being transformed. And now knowing everything is so much scarier.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because if you grounded yourself to something else while you were like,
the way those boxes work. So if you open up a transformer, I've opened up a million transformers, some live, some not. You open it and you have primary ports where you have primary wire coming from your previous transformer, plugs in, connects to another port where primary is being carried out to the next transformer in line.
okay,
And then secondary posts. They're called buses. There's secondary posts that are secondary wire, exactly what's connected to the top of Jason's house, but just underground. And it goes and it connects to the secondary coil inside the transformer. So it takes that primary voltage, transforms it into low 240 voltage to go to a house, but it's also at 2,000-3,000 amps. Whereas
Yeah.
the primary voltage is 25,000 volts, but it's only 8 amps.
You see them big boxes up on the telephone wires?
yeah,
That's your
Yeah,
transformer.
those are
Because
okay.
there's so much voltage and so
it has
much
to go through there to slow
current
it, like
in your
to reduce
in your
it.
power lines, and then they reduce that to
Yeah.
bring it into your house.
So voltage is electromotive force.
Yep.
If you think of it as a water line, right, a hose, your voltage is your water pressure. Your amperage is the
Yeah.
amount of water going through your hose.
At one,
And
Okay.
resistance is anything when you pinch your hose. That's resistance. So ohms,
Yeah, yeah,
a light, any single
Yeah.
thing that's using electricity is resistance.
yeah,
So like the more resistance, the more voltage you need to push that amperage through that resistance.
yeah.
High transmission lines are 69,000 volts, like 69 kV, and there's all these high voltages because they're sending it miles and miles.
so they need that force to carry it.
And
Yeah.
then once it's going to
So
a
it's not-
house,
You can't have that voltage going into a house, so you need a
Mhm.
transformer to cut
but
it.
then you wonder, I only have 8 amps. This isn't going to power this entire city. So a transformer gets to the transformer, and there's a big, it's literally all that's in a transformer. You have a steel square, okay? And it's hollow in the middle. There's a coil wrapped around the top part of it, and a coil wrapped around the bottom part of it. There are more wraps of coil on the top part.
Yep.
The primary is
I know
connected
how
to
that.
that. Just from the magnetic field that creates, it goes through those less coils, which is less voltage,
Yep.
and that comes out the secondary side, literally wirelessly through those two coils. There's nothing connected. And all that voltage,
And you have to go in there.
yeah, this voltage, these green boxes I'm telling you about, at all times, the voltage is going through that box.
Yeah.
The primary circuit is connected to the ground rod in the ground. So at all times, if you touch that green box, you are literally touching that 25,000 volts.
But it's because it's grounded.
It's grounded.
So-
But these ground rods that we put in are connected by a copper wire. If that slips off, a squirrel pops it off or something, the second you touch that green box, you just got shocked by 25,000 volts of electricity.
So you could like,
Literally, kids have been playing on those things. I sit on them all the time. While we're at work, you'll sit against it, lean against it. I open them up.
But if you would sit on top of it, if you jumped up to the top, you would not get.
because you're not grounded.
You're
But
not
if you
grounded.
like leaned off to the,
Their rule, when they go up to a box, he has to slap it with the back of his hand. Because you can't touch it, because if it is live,
you'll
freeze to it.
grip it. Yeah.
See,
Where if you
he said-
slap it, it would push your
He's
hand off.
literally gone up to boxes, slapped them, and he's like, "Yep, that's hot. It's not on the ground rod. They'll have to go. They'll shut off that line,
Underneath.
They have to go to the last transformer, shut that off, so there's no power going through this one. Then they open it up. He's opened up a transformer before, and one of the primary heads was literally only being held on by the box being shut. He lifted it, fell into his lap, and he's like, I was literally sitting there with 25,000 volts in my hand, and if I moved the wrong way. So I was literally sitting there, and he's like,
Contemplating what you're supposed
But
to
it's
do.
not the volts that kill you, it's the amperage.
it's the amperage.
So you could have like 240 volts, and you could possibly
That's
not
hot.
die. But the volts is what's gonna throw you or what's gonna clamp your hand down. So a lot of times, like, you'll grab something and it'll like you won't be able to like get your hand off, and that's how you fry.
Voltage is the power to push it.
Yeah.
So like, amperage is literally the amount of electrons that are moving from
So it's the
molecule
amount of
from,
water
from
going
molecule to molecule. So like when it goes through your body, if you have this many electrons, that many amps going through your body, I think it's like
One amp can kill you.
1 amp is however
Dude, I hate electricity.
dude, how many electrons are in one coulomb, which is in 1 amp? 6.8 times 10 to the 28th power. That's how many electrons are in one single amp. Like,
So that's a crazy charge.
insane. And
Yeah.
you have 2,000 amps coming out of these transformers.
Yeah.
And he said he had an apprentice he taught. This guy was literally out by himself he opened one of the boxes. He was going to do some work on it. He slipped, fell into it. The secondary bus, that's even more dangerous than the primary bus because it's the amperage. And the primary is just the voltage because it's been carrying it. He falls face first into the secondary bus. Didn't have a guard on it. And that's where they found him. Literally melted his face to it. They had to
Yeah.
scrape his face off of this transformer.
Arc flash can happen
What
up
the-
to 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
It can jump up to 20 feet. So if you're like at work and you see a box that has the arc flash logo on it, yeah, don't touch it.
Don't
open
touch it.
Without that
Literally, your
suit.
your circuit breaker panel in the basement, you can
Yeah.
die from if it's
Which
if
I
just
touch
one
that
thing's
all, I
wrong.
touch it all the time. And now I'm going to go to...
I've put
Well,
in
the
breakers.
breakers
and-
won't if you're fucking with the wires.
oh.
No, the box itself is literally charged.
Yeah.
The
so
metal
you-
box itself is electrically charged, but if your ground connection
You should come to my house and look at some stuff then before
you start ripping into
yeah,
things.
Yeah, because I got it like...
Dude, we walk into class Monday. This Monday, he has a big old tub of water sitting in the middle of the room. He's like, you know what I like to do? He's like, sometimes I'll wash my hand, taking a shower, taking a bath. So sometimes you just need to make some toast. Plugs in his toaster, starts the toaster. You can see it's red. Fucking sets it in there. He's washing this toaster while it's plugged in the water. He's like, when I'm done with that, I like to dry my hair. Plugs in a hair dryer, turns it on, puts it underwater. Like he's literally in this water, and putting all these things in the water, and he's explaining. Like how it's everyone's fear. You've seen on all kinds of movies and stuff.
Yeah, it just
A
drops
hair
it in
dryer
there
falls
and you
into the
die.
tub and you die. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And he was, oh my god, he was just literally explaining how it's transferred through water and stuff. Like electricity works perfectly through water. It's like, like there's underwater welding and stuff, and they use electricity. And he was just doing all this shit, and then we took apart a transformer, and he's like, you guys want to backfeed a transformer, which is like the worst case scenario. They think that's how the guy died. So like when you cut a wire, that primary wire that's going from transformer to transformer, it's feeding from one direction. It's feeding from one direction. So as soon as you cut that, it's blowing the fuse on the previous transformer. So that one's dead. There's no electricity in this side of the wire. Now this side is coming from that transformer that wouldn't be live if it didn't already send power through it. But since it goes through the transformer to your secondary power, the house is now powering the transformer. It's backfeeding it. The house powers that bottom coil of the transformer, which then transforms it into
Charges the
high
top one
voltage,
and then goes
sends
back.
it straight back out that wire. And they think he touched that end because it was being backfed through that transformer, and it killed him.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that
And he's
for
like,
the most
you
part.
guys, he's like, you guys want to backfeed a transformer? Literally took the transformer and he hooked up these posts and stuff, and they had one of the guys, he's like, come here. And we have a shotgun stick. It's like a 10-foot rod. It's all insulated fiberglass just so you
You
can
can hold it and
plug
do it.
these things on and do this.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, if he was holding up here, he'd be dead right now. If he moved his hands 3 feet forward, he'd be dead. And we're like, holy shit, dude. It's fucking crazy.
Isn't it crazy how when you run your vacuum cleaner and the wire gets hot, like your cord
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
hot?
It's your resistance.
It's because your wire's too thin and it's not enough resistance in your wire. So literally, you can start fires just by running a vacuum cleaner for too long. Because that would literally get so hot that it melts the insulation, and then whatever, like, you're on the carpet, it starts the carpet on fire.
Yeah, resistance creates heat.
But somewhere along the lines, whoever, like, these vacuum cleaner, like, whoever makes them, had to have paid somebody off to use the thinner wire to save money.
Right.
No, but they know that it's too thin. There's not enough resistance there. It's going to get hot. But yet somehow it's still legal to sell them like that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, had to have been some sort of payoff there. Like, why not just use the correct size wire? We learned that. I had to take a basic electricity class for my apprenticeship. And, like, there's a whole day that they talked about just, like, if you're going to wire an outlet, making sure that you use the right size wire.
That we're learning to splice primary cable, and this stuff's this fucking big.
Oh, God.
And, dude, you know how many layers are in that wire? You have your center conductor, which is either solid or stranded. It's either aluminum or copper. And aluminum's obviously cheaper, lighter, but copper is the best conductor. But it's so expensive. That's why it's expensive, because everyone wants it. But you have your conductor. Then there's a conductor shield. It's a thin layer that covers the conductor. Then you have a semiconductor. Then you have a semiconductor shield. Then you have an insulation. You have literally insulation. It's like nylon or
You're losing me already.
different kinds of
Have you ever
insulation.
taken apart
Like
extension cord?
yeah, and there's like
And there's
There's
the
paper?
three wires, and
Yeah.
there's paper in
That
between.
paper is your insulation. Without that paper, it would literally short circuit. That's all that's insulating a transformer. is
so
paper.
like
Really?
splitting the one from transforming back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you have the insulation, then you have an insulation jacket, and then you have a concentric strand, which is your ground wires. Like your copper wires are stranded around all of that, and then you have the overall jacket, the rubber jacket that closes that. So we're learning every single tool to strip every single layer to a specific 1/16 of an inch to wire up to transformers. If you do it wrong, you can kill someone. And he's literally showing us like how make up elbows that plug into these transformers, and there's a tip in the end of the elbow. It's an insulated rubber boot kinda, and the middle tip is what plugs into a transformer. If you put that tip on wrong, the next person that unplugs it will literally die. It's called an
Dude.
it's called.
Get what?
What do you say?
No, I have a different story. You keep
Dude,
going.
electricity is not. Yeah.
Yeah.
That middle post.
You can't see it, you know.
Yeah. It's called an arc snuffer. We just learned how it works. It's fucking insane. So every time you plug in or you unplug this elbow, you'll have an arc flash, just like you just watched. If it wasn't for this arc snuffer.
So
It's a little powdered rod that plugs into the transformer. And when you pull it out and it arc flashes just like you just saw, the instant it arc flashes and heats up, the internal port is made out of a certain material, and that snuffer is made out of a certain material. When they both get hot, they both create gases. Those two gases mixed together are the best fire extinguisher in the world. So the second you unplug it, the gases combine and they
Move so
put out
fast.
they put out the arc instantly. So if that's cracked, if there's a
Yeah,
hairline
yeah.
crack in it, it'll
Yeah.
arc flash like you just saw on that person.
Yeah. Dude, that's why there's so many deaths though, like to get to where you are now, like and then all these different steps.
These
for
weekend
everything.
warriors like me that are fucking around on their house.
But that's what I'm saying. We still don't know what we're doing. We
Yeah.
still don't know what we're doing. Like this guy that I just said, he has all this
Yeah.
experience. He just died.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
My uncle said he was trimming his trees in the backyard, and he had the overhead wires, and he said he's got the pole, and he's on the ground, the pole saw. He's trimming the branches over the wire. He said all of a sudden, one branch fell onto the wire, so he just took the pole saw and flipped it, because he's like, it's branch, it's wood. He's like, he flipped it out and like through both his arms. Like he said, he dropped the pole saw, like put it all together, back to the garage. Fuck this.
Went to bed.
I'm like,
Went and
dude, you're
sat on the
lucky you
couch and
didn't.
grabbed a beer. Like,
You're lucky you didn't
holy-
die.
Yeah. All right, I have to get going, Frick. This has been solid too. I could sit here for another
Yeah.
hour or two for sure. Anybody want to close it out or have anything to say?
Well,
Well,
Time to back up the wagon.
yeah, I'm gonna go meet my wagon ride and
pound the meat wagon.
and enjoy some.
Christmas.
I think we're having the football pizza from Tony's.
Decent.
Or chicken or something. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, thanks again for joining us. This is a little bit longer than our usual ones, but I think we got a fair amount of content in here that is.
Follow us on Instagram, YouTube.
Yep. Yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah.
And wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah. Seriously. Spotify, Apple Music. I don't know. iTunes. Is that
Apple
thing?
Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. Is that it? Anchor. If you go on there, that's what we use to publish everything. YouTube. We're kind of finally get some video footage on there, and
Instagram.
Yeah, our Instagram is don't want to hear, and we don't have a Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. But
Twitter.
most all the content we do, we put on Instagram, and then that relates back to our YouTube and Spotify, or like Josh said, wherever you get your podcasts. So, thanks for joining us on this one, and we'll see you guys next week.